This is Rugby Radio
with Stuart Cameron.
Brought to you by Borders College.
Well, hello, welcome to Rugby Radio, which comes to you live from Scremerston in Berwick this afternoon for a double header. We're covering the National 2 derby between Berwick and Peebles, but we're also at Poynter Park, where Kelso host Jedforest, and we'll be joining David Ferguson and Scotland and British and Irish Lion Alan Tait shortly. They'll be providing coverage of that one for us today. We're with you till 5 o'clock this afternoon, but reporting on this game today for us at Scremerston is Andrew Fleming, and he joins me now. Andrew, conditions a wee bit damp, let's say. It's been a lot of rain this week.
We have, yeah. No, the first side of the pitch looking a wee bit squelchy here, but a lovely day for rugby here at Scremerston, and what should be a good match. Now,
we always get a bit of an icy breeze off the North Sea as well. It's not too bad at the moment, 12 degrees. We'll go with that for Berwick.
We will do. No, it's, as I say, lovely conditions. The sun's out, and hopefully a decent crowd for a border derby. And Berwick, a team that are desperate for a win, and I'm sure they'll put a good performance in today.
And of course the interesting thing is we call it a border derby. It is a border derby, of course, but they're 60 miles apart, these teams.
They are. It's not exactly nearby, but I'm sure they'll both relish opportunity for, as I say, hopefully a big crowd and a good game of rugby to follow.
Now, apparently it's 19 years ago since Berwick last took the scalp of Peebles, but they're going to fancy their chances today. They've run a lot of teams close this season, although they haven't had a win. They've had a draw and they've had quite a few losing, and bonus points, of course, bonus points.
They have, and as you say, they're still looking for that first win, but I think credit to them, they've stuck in every game they've been in, and hence why they're not at the foot of the table. They're in 8th place, and their bonus points could go a long way this season. You know, as you mentioned, they pushed Falkirk all the way here and travelled to league leaders last Wade and only got beat by 5 points. So I think Peebles will know they're in for a real game today.
Let's have a look at the table then. Last Wade sit at the top, but have played one game more than the others in the top half. They're on 30. Falkirk are on 26. Peebles 22. Gordonians on 21. So very competitive up the top, just like it was last year.
Exactly. No, it was a good league last year, and obviously Berwick did very, very well to avoid that huge drop of teams that were relegated last season by that last win at Preston Lodge. And no, they'll relish a chance against Peebles today, and Peebles who obviously come into the back of 2 defeats, but they'll be really keen to get back on the winning horse and keep going.
We'll be talking to Colin Young, the head coach, very, very shortly, and also Graham Patterson from Peebles to get their thoughts. But it's certainly, it's one of these where we look back on the last time these two played, and they were very, very close, tight matches, and of course they all know each other.
They do, yeah. I mean, as you say, there was nothing really in to separate the teams last year. It was one point in it at Peebles back in January, and Peebles won by 7 points here last season. So I think both teams will know that they're well matched teams. And Berwick, a couple of personnel changes, and Aidan Rosie back on his favoured wing, and I think they'll take a lot of confidence from that and look to take the game to Peebles.
Well, Berwick are above Aberdeen Grammar on points difference. Aberdeen got their only win of the season against Berwick a couple of weeks ago up at Rubislaw. But Stumel moved down to the bottom by virtue of having 3 points docked for not fielding a team a few weeks ago. And that's going to be a concern for them on all sorts of levels.
It is, no, absolutely. I mean, I think anywhere on the field you can get away with an injury and players covering anywhere apart from that front row. It's such a specialised position these days, and it's difficult once you got players out, and it's difficult to bring players in and be ready to face off at this kind of level. So it's worrying times for Stumel, but hopefully they'll get back and they'll be able to make up the points that they've been deducted.
Well, back to today's match, and earlier I spoke with the coaches from both sides. You'll hear from Peebles head coach Graham Patterson shortly, but first a chat with Berwick head coach, and that is Colin Young. Well, Colin, good to see you at Scremerston. It's been a while since we've been down here. And you were saying the other day that you think it was about 19 years ago, 2004-05 season, when Berwick last beat Peebles, and it was home and away.
Yes, it was.
Were you playing in that game?
I was. That's how I remember it, the home and away. I'm pretty sure it was the second game of the season. We went up to the Gates, and then in the return fixture later on that year. There might have been another win in between, but I can certainly remember that just because I was still playing then.
Yes, a long time ago that.
Wasn't yesterday, Stuart.
But since then, of course, I mean, even as soon as last season, you took them very, very close here. You were in the lead for some of the match, and also at the Gates, just 1 point in it.
Yeah, up there, they got a red card early on in the second half, and we found it probably more difficult to play against the 14, and they relished it and took on their opportunities and sneaked the win at the end. We did have a penalty to kick for goal, but we decided to take the scrum, regrettably, just after the red card, and that was the difference in the game at the gate. And last season down here, we probably just ran out of time to get something out of the game, scoring in the last play of the game, but we definitely had the momentum for the last 15-20 minutes last season at Scremerson.
Now this season, of course, similar really to last year. I mean, there were times where you were getting really close to winning matches and just missing out, and the same seems to be happening here as well, because you're still without a win. You got that draw on the first day of the season, and you almost won up at Rubislaw against Aberdeen, just missing out again the last play of the match. But you've been picking up losing bonus points, you've been picking up try bonuses, so you're 8th position at the moment. This time last week it was 9th, because Stu Mel, of course, have gone down to the bottom because they've had 3 points docked for not fulfilling a fixture. So you're in 8th place now, above Aberdeen, but you want to get out of there, don't you?
We absolutely do, and we've spoke about it for the last 2-3 weeks, trying to get this monkey off our back that everybody kind of talks about in sport, and it's certainly lingering around. But we've got the boys. It's just that mental toughness and the game management of it, where if you're down in a game, or if you're chasing a game, when do you chase the game? Don't press the panic button too early, and regroup if you need to regroup. But we've definitely got the boys, we've definitely got the experience. We just need a little bit of lady luck now, or the bounce of a ball, or the rub of the green, whatever way you want to look at it. We just need something to kick-start us on, because we don't want to be winless at the turn of the season kind of style.
And it was a month ago that you were last playing at Scremerson, so it seems like a long time. Newton Stewart were the guests then, and they just pipped you again at the post there. But looking out at the moment, the guys doing your pitch, it looks fantastic. It's very squashy. We've had a lot of rain, but it does look in fantastic condition.
Yeah, hopefully the conditions don't hamper too much today. It will be a greasy ball, but hopefully the pitch dries out a little bit, and we'll be able to play some rugby. It's quite a calm, still day, no real wind, and just like I say, hopefully the wetness doesn't spoil a game of rugby. I think the pitch will cut up towards the end of the game, and hopefully there's not a lot of scrums and reset scrums that's going to cut the pitch up drastically, and where the referee plays that with a little bit of sense and maybe just gets the ball away and lets the boys play rugby.
What about the team news then? Because I noticed that Aidan Rosie's been on the wing now, and he likes that position, doesn't he? And but I mean, looking at the Hardy boys are all in place. You've got Ali Grieve in the back row, Darren Goodfellow in the front row as well, up against Matty Carrier, which will be a good battle up front, won't it?
Yeah, we've got a lot of regular names and have been in their jerseys for a few years now. But no, Aidan has been playing at 13, and he's probably more comfortable on the wing. He's done a great job, but how we want to use Aidan's probably not as a 13. On that front line of attack, we prefer him probably being floating around and strike when he wants to strike, and be probably hopefully more effective on that position today. And like you said, the Hardy brothers are still there, and Jack Webster, Ali Grieve, the big stalwarts of the club for the last 5-10 years, some of them even. I think Jack Webster will be about the only one that's left who I played with in Ali and that's playing today.
We wish you the best of luck, and looking forward to it.
Thanks, Stuart.
Well, Graham, no rugby for Peebles for 3 weeks, and no win since you won at Falkirk, so that was over a month ago. So not an ideal preparation for today's match.
Not really, no. I mean, obviously there was the planned week off, which is sometimes good, but I think aligned to another week off that wasn't planned is not good. So we've just had to focus on training and making sure that the guys are mentally ready to come back and physically ready.
Now, last season, the matches against Berwick were very close affairs, weren't they? And I was talking to Colin Young. He played the last time that Berwick actually beat Peebles, which was 19 years ago, back in 2004-2005 season. And he claims, I don't know if this is true, he claims he beat you home and away.
Well, I can't remember that far back. My memory's gone.
I certainly don't remember that far back. But the good thing, I mean, last season, obviously, they were very, very close games.
Yeah, they were. And I think, to be fair, there always have been. You know, that especially down here, we come here, and Berwick are a very strong side at home. It's a very difficult place to come, and that's what we would try to impress onto the guys, is not to look at the league table really too much. It is, we're coming down here for a really tough afternoon of rugby, which is always the case when you come down here. So that's what we've been focusing on, not so much league positions, but more in terms of just getting our own game in order, that we're going to be playing a very, very good side, which we will be.
Well, they're very strong in the back division, and you've got a very strong pack, and of course you've got guys who can certainly run in the tries as well. But you know, without any ball, it's no good at all. So you'll be looking at the likes of Willie Aitken in the front row, Matty Douglas, no, Matty Carrier, wrong team, to do a job for you today, obviously out there.
Well, yeah, exactly. So Matty's come back from Matty Douglas's
that's right.
charge from last season, and he's come back to us, and he has added to that, and that's what we're looking for, is him to really control our forwards on the pitch in a leadership role, and that has certainly come through over the last. Or since the start of the season, really, that's where our strength, would say, is in our forward pack. And as you say, you can't do anything without the ball, so it's just making sure that we tie that up and create those chances for our backs as well, to finish off it in as easy as possible manner. And if that means, you know, eating up the numbers and the defence by simple rugby, that's what we do. You know, it doesn't need to be a complicated game to win games. It just needs to be an efficient and an accurate game, and that's what we're looking to do today. What's
been the chat this week? Because obviously, as I mentioned, you haven't played for a wee while. The last couple of fixtures were defeats. You want to really get back on the horse again. Yeah, definitely, and that's the messages that have been given. Is we've really focused on showing them videos of those first 4 games, and how we, in some areas that we looked at there, where we really were, we tied up the forward and the back play, and we were a bit more complete, I would say, in the style of play that we were looking to do. That maybe fell away a wee bit, and there was certain areas such as the breakdown, it wasn't as efficient in those 2 games that we lost, and that's the difference. If you don't have good quick breakdown ball, then the two don't meet, the backs and the forwards. That's the linkage between the backs and the forwards. So that's what we've worked on, is looking at some of the areas from the backs, looking at that linkage between back and forward play, and rectifying that. And I think we've got that messages across to the players, but the proof in the pudding will be how they actually display it on come 3 o'clock. That's right. Well, it's going to be very interesting. It haven't been high-scoring games between the two of you, but you never know, they might buck the trend today. But whatever happens, we hope it's a good game. Thank you very much. That's Graham Patterson. Before that, it was Colin Young, the head coach of Berwick. Well, after the break, we'll hook up with David Ferguson, who's at Poynter Park this afternoon for the big derby between Kelso and Jedforest in the Premiership.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio. If you're looking to develop or hone your green skills, look no further than Borders College, your local community college. Visit borderscollege.ac.uk today. Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
Borders water, Borders barley and Borders people. That's what makes the Borders Distillery. Working exclusively with local farmers, the Borders Distillery is bringing whiskey making back to the region. Our award-winning distillery is open to everyone, where you can meet the people behind the scenes, explore our wash house and shop quality local products. Tour your local distillery and discover the spirit of the Borders. Full details at thebordersdistillery.com. Always enjoy our spirit responsibly. Under 18s must be accompanied by an adult when visiting the Borders Distillery.
Your pet deserves the best, and that's why your pet deserves the care and treatment offered by Border Vets. We focus on delivering the very best care to each and every one of our patients and clients. We get to know you and your pet and offer treatments tailored to every animal's individual needs from our conveniently located surgeries in Galashiels, Selkirk and Earlston. Ask about our Pet Health Club for your cat or dog, giving you peace of mind by spreading the cost of vaccinations, regular checks and more. From dental care to travelling abroad and the whole range of veterinary services, bordervets.co.uk is where you'll find everything you need to know. Border Vets, where your pets are part of our family.
This is Rugby Radio, brought to you by Borders College.
Well, it's been a long time coming, but after 4 years we have a competitive derby between Kelso and Jedforest, who are now both in the Premiership, and covering that one for us today, along with the legend who is Alan Tait, former Scotland and British and Irish Lions international, is David Ferguson. And David, great to have this fixture back after such a long time.
Yes, it is indeed, Stuart, and we look, after all the rain of yesterday and last night, we look like we're going to have a nice day here at Kelso. A little bit overcast, but it's bright enough, and just a bit of a breeze here at Kelso. But yeah, I think we're getting to that stage, aren't we, Stuart, where the excitement of having 4 Borders clubs back in the top flight has given way a bit to the reality of competing and keeping pace with the best club sides in Scotland. Jed have yet to unearth a win this season, but they arrive here today buoyed by possibly their best performance. I think it is their best performance of the season. Has been coach David Grieve, who agrees with that, although it was in defeat to league leaders Mar last week. We've talked about that earlier, Stuart, about the Border Derby. They both marked this one. I think both these teams as a must-win early in the season for them. And Jed arrive at Poynter Park for this Premiership Derby. What will be their first Premiership Derby with Kelso since the year 1999. So the clubs have met, of course, we know, in the past 24 years in Border League and other lower league affairs. But I'm sure a few would have thought that when Kelso slipped out of the top flight in 2000 and Jed followed the next season, that they would wait almost a quarter of a century for the next Premiership Derby clash. But here today, speaking to the players and the coaches beforehand, it's the future rather than the history that's on their minds. We may only be 8 games into the season, but already a gap has opened from the bottom relegation spot, and the rest, Jed, are in that 10th place on just 3 points. But they know that a victory today could close that gap to 5 points on Selkirk and bring them just 8 behind Kelso, depending of course on how Selkirk get on at Hawick. For their part, Kelso are also acutely aware that a home win would take them to an 18-point lead over the basement side, and as well as seriously enhancing their chances of staying in the Premiership, it also awakens playoff hopes for Kelso. So plenty to play for. Most of the team personnel changes made this week should strengthen the sides. We'll come to a disappointing one perhaps for Jed in a second. We'll start with Kelso. Wing Robbie Tweedy's back after concussion, and Angus Roberts has handed his first start of the season on the other wing, while up front Grant Shields, Cammy Brown, Terry Logan, Ewan Knox and Murray Woodcock are all back in the pack. For Jed, Robbie Shearer Gibb is back on the wing, and I was going to say in place of Lewis Elder. That was the original plan, but Gregor Young is missing today. Gregor Young is now unavailable for Jed, so his twin Lewis will start at fullback, but Gregor's out, and so Lewis Elder is coming back onto the other wing. He did play last week against Mar. He was going to start on the bench, but he's back in. Jamie Ferguson is back into the pack in the back row, and Dan Wardrop moves up to lock. The form book, Stuart, would favour Kelso. They've won 2, drawn 1 and only lost 1 at home this season so far, and that was against Selkirk, which was a game they know they let slip. Their challenges are on the road, where they've yet to win. But Jed optimism comes from their game last week, where they really did run league leaders Mar close before going down 43-31. The Jed problem this season is defence. They're averaging more than 50 points conceded per game, so that's the number one challenge for them today, to shut the door on Kelso's attack. They've now got, they've talked about having very few players that have stayed in the team every week to week. They've not been able to name the same team. They've done it more or less from last week to this. It's pretty close, and I think they feel that's what's going to give them a chance of taking Kelso today. But we know it's a Border Derby. The old cliches come into play of the form book and out the window, because these are two teams that will fight tooth and nail to the finish of this game. So we're only just over 10 minutes away from kick-off. We'll have Alan Tait, as you mentioned, alongside me. He's making his way here to Poynter Park to join me for the game, having been speaking at the Greenyards today, but he's coming down because he wants to watch this match. So he'll be with me shortly, Stuart, and we'll be able to bring you all the action from Poynter Park.
And I'd imagine the stand's going to be pretty packed today.
Yeah, it's filling up pretty nicely. I mean, you know, everybody's like, they always leave it to last minute, but I would say it's about half full, but I do know there is a lunch, there's hospitality going on. Kelso here, they're getting their hospitality lunches packed out this season, and they've got a lot of people downstairs who will always leave it till the last minute to leave the bar, of course, and come into the stand. So, yeah, I saw some of them earlier, and I expect this to be packed today. Both Kelso, Jed, a lot of fans. As we said, Stuart, they've waited a long time to see them go head to head in the Premiership in amongst the big boys, so I think a lot of anticipation today.
Certainly is. Now, just quickly, whilst we've got you there, a quick word about the announcements which came out from World Rugby this week about the World Cup for 2027. Can you fill us in with what actually happened there?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, the big headline was that the World Cup itself is going to go to 24 teams from 20 teams. So World Rugby certainly portrayed that as being an attempt to make sure they involve more teams rather than the stretch. You know, we talked as well, Stuart, last week about the World Cup being stretched out quite a bit and no games during the week, and it meant you've had to wait a long time for the games. So the next World Cup they're going to have 6 pools of 4 teams, which means they'll be able to play more games in a shorter space of time, so we'll see more action, which is a response to that. The big concern, of course, for Scotland in this one, we pitched in with South Africa and Ireland because of the seedings changing, because the draw was made 3 years in advance. That's not going to happen this time. The draw is going to be made just in about 18 months in advance, I think, excuse me, of the World Cup. So I think that should help the draw be a bit more competitive and not see 3 of the top 5 seeds in the one pool, which we saw this year. But obviously there's an awful lot more that's going on.
Yes, interesting happenings from World Rugby there. I think the Tier 1 teams will certainly be reasonably happy, but below that level I think there's certainly some work to be done to convince them that that is the best move for promoting Tier 2 rugby. Anyway, we'll be joining Alan Tait and David Ferguson for commentary a little bit later on. Staying in the Premiership, another Border derby today, both also Border League games of course today. It's Hawick against Selkirk. We've got Alan Lorimer down there covering that for us today. And also in the Premiership, Edinburgh Accies against Curry, Glasgow Ox v Heriots Blues, and Mar versus Musselburgh. While into National 1, Melrose host Watsonians, Biggar take on GHA, Highland host Glasgow Accies, which should be very tasty indeed, 2nd versus 3rd there, and Gala they're at home to Dundee. In fact, we can cross to Netherdale now for a preview of that one from Sam Matthews.
Yes, welcome to Netherdale as 8th place Gala welcome 7th place Dundee. Angus Dunn will be desperate for a bonus point win today and to shut out his opponents as they currently sit above them in the table with a game in hand and a 2-point cushion. Not to mention they will want to bounce back after that 41 points to 14 demolition they took from Glasgow Accies away from home last week. Key lineup info changes is that Scott Peppers is back in his usual 10 jersey and Callum Pate moves back out onto the wing. Notable is Lachlan Johnson has been dropped from the 9 position completely out the squad according to the team sheet, although he has been seen warming up today, so we'll have to keep updates for that. This is an important day at Netherdale, as although there's only 8 games played so far, the alarm bells will start to ring if they don't get the correct result today for Craig Dodds and the rest of his coaching staff. Updates coming all throughout on Borders Rugby with kick-off at 3 p.m.
Thank you to Sam. I have a funny feeling Lachlan Johnson was red carded last week, which could be the reason why he's not included today, but no doubt Sam will confirm that a little bit later on. 6 minutes to 3, you're tuned to Rugby Radio right across Scotland and indeed the world. And in National 1, unbeaten leaders Ayr make a short trip to GHK this afternoon looking for 8 wins out of 8, and their head coach is Grant Anderson.
There'll be a few changes from the starting lineup from last week because we tend to pick a team suited to the opponents that we're playing, so we'll have a few personnel changes for Saturday and then ultimately looking to go up to GHK and hopefully get the win. They will pose different challenges for us than what we'll maybe come across already. They play a kind of different style of rugby to many of the other teams in our league, but they've obviously got their strengths and they play to those, so we'll need to be aware of those and we need to make sure that we're executing our game. Our focus really moving forward is to focus on ourselves, because we know that if we get our defensive system right, like we have done in a number of games this year, and if we get our attacking system right and functioning and we're playing to our principles, then we feel that we're pretty confident going into most games that we can maybe achieve what we want to achieve. If we don't get those things right, then many of the teams in the league are competitive, and many have strengths of their own that they'll look to enforce onto us. So it's a bit of cat and mouse, but we put a lot of focus on the teams that we're playing. We do our homework, but then ultimately our most important focus, our number one priority, would be ourselves and doing what we want to do and doing things well, doing it with conviction.
Yeah, they're doing really well at the moment. Ayr at the top of National 1, certainly looking for that promotion into the Premiership. Let's have a look at the matches being played. Luckily, there's no postponements today. A couple of changes in kick-off times, things like that. But in the Premiership, we've got Edinburgh Accies against Curry. That's 5th against 3rd. Glasgow Hawks, 7th place, playing Heriots Blues in 4th. Hawick against Selkirk. Hawick in 2nd place at the moment, looking for their 7th win in the row, I think. And Selkirk in 9th position at the moment. Kelso against Jedforest, our commentary game, that's coming up very, very shortly. Mar versus Musselburgh. You've got 1st against 6th there, but remember, Musselburgh gave Hawick a bit of a scare at Mansfield Park a couple of weeks ago. Into National 1, and a game that's already kicked off. Biggar against GHA, 2:30 kick-off for that one. Biggar, no win for them at the moment. They're down in 10th place against GHA, for a good start for them. 10-0 at the moment. Biggar leading GHA. We've heard about Gala against Dundee, 8th against 7th there. GHK are at home to Ayr, that's 9th against 1st. Highland v Glasgow Accies, for me that's a real interesting game to keep an eye on. Highland in 3rd place, Glasgow Accies in 2nd, and Glasgow Accies starting their season like an express train. Put 60 points on GHK, put 60 points on Melrose as well, and disposed of Gala last week with a score of over 40 points. And of course Melrose playing Watsonians, Melrose 6th place against Watsonians in 5th. In Division 2, it's Aberdeen Grammar against Gordonians, Berwick against Peebles here. We'll find out from Andrew Fleming in a second about the team news for that one. Kirkcaldy against Falkirk, Lasswade against Stirling County, and Newton Stewart play Stewart's Melville. And in National 3, it's Alan Glens against Preston Lodge. Carther, Queen's Park will play West of Scotland. That's a 4 o'clock kick-off for that one. Dumfries versus Orkney, Hamilton against Boroughmuir, and Howe Fife against Hillhead Jordan Hill. And finally in Division 4 today, Garnock, top of the table, the only team out of all the 50 teams playing national rugby in Scotland who have a 100% record. They're at home to Perthshire today. Greenock Wanderers against Dunfermline, North Berwick v Murrayfield Wanderers, Stewartry against White Craigs, and Strathmore against Ross High. So we're about 2 minutes away from kickoffs across the country today. Andrew Fleming with me at the moment. You've got the team news, in fact, here for Berwick against Peebles.
Yes, Stuart, Berwick line-up is so: Jordan Jackson at full-back, Aidan Rosey and Jack Dalrymple on the wings, with Ben Nicholson, Duncan Hardy making up the centre partnership. Jack Webster starts at 10 and Adam Hardy at scrum half. The front row sees Darren Goodfellow, Nathan Melrose and Jordan Peterson packed down, with Stuart Farnaby and Alex Orr in the second row, and the back row made up of Ali Grieve as captain, Mason Emery and Ryan Wilson. On the bench, Jason Girdwood, Grant Malcolm, Cammy Rogerson and Liam Robson. On to Peebles, front row is made up of Willie Aitken, Matty Carrier, John Gray, Ross Brown and Hamish Bell in the second row, with Rowan McKeever, Finlay Collins and Cameron Pye in the back row. Into the backs, Jack Harrison and Donald Anderson make up the half-pack partnership, Buster Davidson and Neil Paith on the wings, the centre partnership of James Hodgkiss and James Doe, with David Collins at full-back. People subs this afternoon: Rory Smith, John Napier, Scott Lawson and Jordan Charters.
Well, we're not far away from kick-off here at Scremerston in National 2. We'll be keeping you up to date with regular updates from Andrew Fleming on Berwick against Peebles. But time to cross over to Poynter Park for Kelso against Jedforest, and your commentary team with 27 Scottish caps and 2 British and Irish Lions rugby union caps between them. A very good afternoon to Alan Tait and David Ferguson.
Yes, between us, yes. Well, we'll just take you through the teams. It's just, as you say, we're just starting here. The crowd is filling up the stand, as I said earlier, Stuart. Once all of the guys and the ladies are out of the hospitality and they're just making their way into the stand now. The stand here at Poynter Park on a lovely, quiet, sort of breezy day, but no rain, no big wind to talk of, is really starting to fill up. I think we're going to have a really big crowd. So we'll take you through the teams here at Poynter Park. Kelso, the home side, have got Archie Barber at fullback. On the wings, Angus Roberts and Robbie Tweedy. In the centres, Dwayne Patterson at 13 and captain Frankie Robson at 12. Half-backs for Kelso today, Andy Tait at scrum half and Murray Hastie at 10. In the front row, we've got Grant Shields back alongside Ewan Knox and Terry Logan, probably the strongest front row they could put out this season. Second row, they've got Cammy Brown and Keith Melbourne. Again, they've been formidable for Kelso in the second row this season. And Liam Tait, Murray Woodcock and Bruce McNeil in the back row. Their subs today are Alan Frame, Ashton Asante, Andrew Sweeney, James Glendinning and James Thompson. Jedforest will start in the backs with Lewis Young at 15. On the wings, Lewis Elder and Robbie Shearer-Gibb. In the centres, Owen Cranston at 13 and Dom Buckley, who's very well known in these parts, Kelso and Jed he's played for. He'll be at 12. Gary Munro at 10 and Mark Glenn, the young 17-year-old scrum half, starting again today after a good performance against Mar last week. In the pack, we've got Stephen Anderson, Harvey Keith and Harry Meadows in the front row for Jed as the team start to come out onto the pitch here at Pointer Park. Skipper Clark Skeldon is in the boiler house with Dan Wardrop today, and then the back row, Jamie Ferguson, Blake Roth and Ben Fotheringham, the other Kiwi, both Blake and Ben, both from Southland in New Zealand, in the jerseys 7 and 8 for Jed today. Now on the bench we've got for Jed today Max Purvis, Jamie Hind, Hamish Stenhouse, Aidan Bambrick and Brodie Irvin comes onto the bench with Lewis Elder, the winger, stepping in for Gregor Young today. So they're looking like two good teams. The referee for today, Tom French from Glasgow, is a doctor, so if any of the players have any medical issues out there on the pitch, they should be in good hands with Tom French. He's been watched today, I can see, from a referee's assessor, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of very hot whistling and making sure he's on top of the game. But yeah, as I said earlier, there's not a lot of weather to worry about today. It's a little bit of a breeze. You can see the flags flying down the pitch, going from left to right as we look out from the main stand. Jed in their familiar blue shorts, blue socks and blue jerseys with the white shoulders, and Kelso in their familiar black and white hoops and black shorts and red socks. So yeah, we're packing into the stand for a great game here this afternoon, and we have kick-off from Dwayne Patterson. The whistle goes and here it comes to the far side, and Kelso win the ball straight off from the kick-off. Cammy Brown has picked it up, he goes to ground, he's put the ball back quickly, so Kelso have won the kick-off and they're on the attack right at the beginning of the game. Not giving Jed an inch so far. They're attacking into the Jed half, and it's good movement there, getting over the top. Keith Melbourne, it's moved out to the backs. Murray Hasty puts it on, and Liam Tait gets the ball in a good line straight in. He's well tackled, well brought to ground. It comes back out to Keith Melbourne. He takes a bit of stopping. He's gone on another 10 yards to the edge of the 22. It comes out to the backs. It's being moved. Robbie Tweedy picked it up, but he had a wee trip, a wee stumble, but it's still on the edge of the 22 and it's held up. But there's a wee knock-on suggestion from the referee. From Jed, it was Kelso had the ball there, but Robbie Tweedy well tackled by a couple of players. But the ball looked like it'd been knocked on. Referee Tom French has given a scrum to Kelso just on the edge of the 22. And we're just over a minute into the game, and Kelso obviously is looking like they want to make sure they set the tone early on, winning their own kick-off and taking the ball deep into the Jed half. So we'll see what Kelso have planned from the first scrum of the game on the far side of the pitch. They're lined up with quite a wide stance. And Kelso this season have liked to play the ball as wide as they can, use the full width of the pitch, and they have Robbie Tweedy standing out well out here on the left touchline, and it looks like they'll be looking to do it, but players are lining up very close together inside, further inside the pitch. And it's coming back. Cammy Brown picks it up, he gives it to Dwayne Patterson. Dwayne Patterson gives a great pass to Archie Barber, who's taken it. He juggled a bit, but he got there. He's only 5 metres short. He's been pulled down. A great tackle. Actually, he's lost it for a great tackle by Robbie Shearer-Gibb, who's denied him just a few metres short of the line. That was a great line taken by Archie Barber. The Kelso fullback came in at pace. He had to juggle the ball a little before he got under control, tried to go round, but Robbie Shearer-Gibb was very quick across there and managed to get him down and hold him so he couldn't reach out for that line. It's now a scrum. Referee's whistle went there. He's decided there was a knock-on again, but I think it's a knock-on again by Jed in the tackle. But no, it's actually going to be a Jed scrum. Or is it in the far side? Yes, it is a Jed scrum. You can see them lining up, and Jed have the chance to clear their lines here. Only 2.5 minutes into the game, but Jed have already been put under a lot of pressure, and it was very close to being the game's first try there with Archie Barber. but he was denied. Kelso putting a lot of pressure on the scrum. They've had to pick it up. Jed have picked it up at the back of the scrum, but they're under pressure. They're trying to keep the ball. They've still held on to the ball. Kelso haven't quite got it back, but they certainly have put in pressure on their own line. Comes back to Gary Monroe, and he has the hasty clearance there. He's managed to get it upfield, but Archie Barber's picked it up. He didn't put it into touch. Archie Barber coming back at the 22. He beats the first man. He's gone through 2 tackles, and the ball's gone to ground now. A ruck has gone over, but Bruce McNeil takes it on. He bumps the first man onto the ground, and then he goes another couple of yards, and the ball comes back in the ruck. Now it's back out to Keith Melbourne, then to Murray Woodcock. Murray Woodcock is only 2 metres short of the post. They are just underneath the post. A lot of feverish tackling going in by Jed there. The referee's whistle goes. Oh, he's given a knock on against Kelso there on the ground. But that was another good attack by Kelso. Again, they've got themselves to within a couple of metres of the Jed line. But Jed's defence, Jed's scramble defence, has saved them once again. They've managed to hold them out. So we're just 3 minutes into the game. There's still no score here at Poynter Park. It's 0-0 on the scoreboard, but we have Kelso making all the running in the early parts of this game. And again, the fullback Archie Barber, who's been a real find for Kelso this season, come back up from being down south at school, finished school. He's only young, but he is a terrific counter-attacker, and he was at the heart of setting that off again, taking the ball into that 22. It was moved really well to their big ball carriers, the people that Kelso are getting used to seeing on the ball a lot this season. Keith Melbourne, the second row, big Irishman, red hair, you can't miss him out there in the park when he gets charging. And similarly, Bruce McNeil, who we know, who's from southwest of Scotland but played at Hawick, and he's been at Kelso. He's a player coach here at Kelso. A big beard on him. When he gets charging, it takes a bit of stopping too. So Kelso are using the players to good advantage at the moment to put pressure on the Jed 22, and they've got, there's a scrum to Jed again, very close to their own line, just under their own posts. It was a scrappy clearance the last time, but this time they pick up and go forward, but they've dropped the ball. Actually, look at Clark Skeldon. Had the ball. He gave it to Dom Buckley, and Dom Buckley dropped the ball there. Dom Buckley I mentioned earlier, who is well known in these parts, comes from around here, Kelso, and has played for Kelso in the past as well. But under pressure there, Kelso have been really on top of them in terms of the pressure they're putting on the Jed team in their own 22, and they forced the mistake there. Dom Buckley dropped the ball under pressure from 2 tacklers, just 5 metres out from his own line. And now Kelso have a ball. They've got a chance to attack from, as I say, that 5 metres out, just about 5 metres left of the posts, and they've got a chance to take a move here, play a backs move. It looks like they're setting up both sides. Whether the pack are going to take them on, yeah, they are taking them on in the scrum. It's a huge drive by the Kelso pack. They're driving all the way to the line. They're holding it in the back. They're keeping it in the back. And they would dive down. Bruce McNeil, a familiar scorer for Kelso. We've seen him already. Just coming up to 6 minutes played, and Kelso have the first points on the board here at Poynter Park. I did wonder whether they'd move the ball. The backs were fanning out both left and right, but the forwards decided we don't need them. We'll just drive Jed back over their own line, which they did, and it was an easy dot down for Bruce McNeil at the back of that scrum. So we've seen already in the first 5 minutes the different threats that we have from Kelso. They've taken it on up front, they've moved the ball wide, the backs have made in good dents, good scrambled defence by Jed has stopped them, but there, the power of that Kelso pack has really told in that scrum, and they have pushed them back over their own line and dotted down for the game's first try. We've now got a conversion from Dwayne Patterson from not far out, just about 10-12 metres out from the posts to the left hand side. And yeah, did that go over? It did go over. Yeah, the flies go up, but he seemed to pull that one very tight from that distance against the left post, but it went through, and that's all that matters. More points for Dwayne Patterson, who is top scorer here for Kelso this season. Dwayne Patterson has 54 points, 44 kicked, so that's him up to 46 from his boot this season for Kelso. And Bruce McNeil, top try scorer this season, with 6, and that's him taking his tally to 7 tries for the season already. Not bad when your number 8 is bringing you tries regularly. So yeah, a very impressive start from Kelso at the moment, but we'll head back down. Just in fact, it's a penalty against Jed, so in the Kelso half, So Kelso have the chance to clear their lines, and we'll hand you back down to Stuart and Andrew down at Berwick. So there's just over 7 minutes gone here at Pointer Park. The score is Kelso 7, Jedforest 0.
Thank you to David Ferguson. Alan Tait will be joining him shortly, no doubt, at Pointer Park. 7-0 there. Bruce McNeil try for Kelso against Jedforest. Remember, the first time they've played together in the Premiership in a derby since 1999. Well, Andrew Fleming's with us at Scremiston here. It's Berwick against Peebles, and early scores, Andrew.
There is, yes, Stuart. Berwick lead 3-0. The left boot of Jack Webster with the penalty after 6 minutes. An interesting start, and both teams getting fired into all sets of rucks. Berwick with a penalty awarded just inside the Peebles half as we speak, and Jack Webster looked to launch this downfield with a left-footed kick. But yeah, no, a decent start from Berwick, who've a lot of early possession and territory, but as Jack Webster misses touch with that, and Peebles been let off, but looked to go from deep, and that's well cleared from the full-back, and that's found touch on the 10-metre line of the Berwick half. And yeah, they'll be pleased with that one. Peebles with the first chance of territory in the Berwick half, and the line out didn't go straight, so unfortunate start from them. But yeah, Berwick were looking to make their momentum count so far.
3-0, an early lead for Berwick here at Scremiston. Latest scores in the Premiership: Hoyk 7, Selkirk 0, Kelso 7, Jedforest 0. For our commentary match, we'll return to David Ferguson very, very shortly. Mar 7, Musselburgh 0 is a latest score. Into National 1, the game that kicked off at 2:30, Biggar against GHA. Remember, Biggar bottom of the table, not won this season, but they've scored 3 tries already against GHA, who are going great guns at the moment in the top half of the table. It's Biggar 22, GHA 7, Gala 5, Dundee 5. A Richie Todd try to open up the scoring at Netherdale. Dundee have just equalised 5-5 in that game. Highland 7, Glasgow Accy 7 is the latest score in National 1. In National 2, it's Aberdeen Grammar 0, Gordonians 5, Berwick 3, Peebles 0, as we've just heard, Kirkcaldy 0, Falkirk 7, and Newton Stewart 7, Stewart's Melville 3. Those are the latest scores at the moment, as Peebles put a lot of pressure on the Berwick try line with Jack Harrison and Matty Carrier combining there. But we'll return to Pointer Park right now for David Ferguson and Alan Tait, and it's Kelso versus Jedforest.
Yes, thank you, Stuart. We've got a little lull there with a scrum here, and it's a Kelso scrum. And as I said earlier, right at the start of the game there, Kelso pack drove over the Jed scrum on their own line to score that first try. So it's perhaps no surprise that we're seeing some smiling faces in the Kelso pack. The forwards love this, don't they? And Cammy Brown, who's playing second row today for Kelso, back in the second row, he goes in at number 8 actually on this scrum, and he's they're driving forward, but he's keeping the ball in the back, and yet then he uses it. Oh, they're giving it against Kelso. Actually, by the referee's whistle, Kelso seem to have dominance on that scrum. They certainly had them going forward. There's a few questions been asked by Grant Shields, the Kelso loosehead. The referee seems to give it against Terry Logan. He's given it against the tight head in that scrum for pulling that scrum down, but that's a strange one. Kelso certainly had the dominance, the ball was coming out. Perhaps they just need to learn from that to use the ball a wee bit quicker. And they kept it in a long time before they used it. So it's given Jed the chance here to have a good attacking platform inside the Kelso half. They've kicked it from halfway into touch. Gary Munro standoff. It's a great kicker for Jed. Puts it just inside the 22. So it's a line out to Jed just inside the Kelso 22. And it goes right to the tail. A great throw there, right to the tail. By Harvey Keith, and it was well taken there by Clark Skeldon, the Jed skipper, and they run on, they're round the line out, and they've got up to 10 metres away, just picking and going at the moment. They're keeping the ball close. Jamie Ferguson picking up and going close there, but there we goes, it goes again, and it's been held. Kelso are working hard, but Jed are not looking to move the ball too much. They're just picking and going at the moment, working their way in towards the Kelso post. Keith Melbourne puts in a big tackle on the ground and brings him down, but now they've moved it. Gary Munro's moving it wide. It's a great throw wide, but it's given. The referee's whistle goes. Oh, he's given it. I think he's given a penalty to Jed, but it looked like Jed certainly had advantage there, but must have been the forward pass. I think he's deemed that pass to be a forward, and so it's brought it back for a penalty to Jed, just about 12-15 metres out. Gary Munro standoff. He's going to kick this with his right boot into touch, straight into touch, to give Jed another chance to attack off a line out. they've shown what they can do with their line out. That was a good bit of work by Jed there. They took the ball in. They weren't worried too much about going too far, going too wide too quickly. Just one out, picking the ball up and going again, and they managed to really roll Kelso back on their heels in their own 22. So here we go with the line out again. Will we go into the tail this time? Clark Skeldon is standing waiting for it, but it's gone up. No, taken it there by Dan Wardrop. But it's not straight. The line out's not straight. Unfortunately for Jed, that was a good chance to attack there. And actually Ben Fotheringham was the one looking for the line out. He's not happy with that. I think he thought it was certainly straight enough. He's a bit angry, and it's a chance gone a begging there for Jed. They had a good opportunity to attack just, as I say, just 10 metres from the Kelso line. Good line out opportunity, good attacking platform, but they've squandered that just with a line out throw that wasn't straight. Very frustrating for the Jed faithful here in the stand. There's a big crowd here at Poynter Park this afternoon. All the way around the pitch, you can see a good number of people on the far side watching this game, as well as a full stand. Kelso scrum on their own, just 5 metres from their own line. They've been given a penalty. Jed scrum went down at the front, and this time it's the referee has gone the way of Kelso. So it gives Kelso the chance to clear their lines. Dwayne Patterson, the standoff, clearing it from just 5 metres from his own line. We'll see how far he can make this up the touchline. Yeah, he gives it a good hefty boot with his right foot onto the stand roof here at Poynter Park, and it goes into touch just on the Kelso 10 metre line. So it gives Kelso a chance to get the game out, take the game out of their own half. Since they scored just after about 6 minutes, they scored to open the scoring in this game. They've found themselves penned back in their own half. Kelso, Jed have worked hard to get back into the game. There's a bit of scrapping going on with Clark Skeldon and Keith Melbourne there. Both of them trying to show they've got the upper hand, but Kelso scrum has driven on. They've got a maul from the line out. They've driven it on, they've made it over the halfway. It's gone down, it's moved back. Murray Hastie moves it back to Dwayne Patterson, who goes for a crossfield kick. It's a bit backwards, a bit lateral. His kick went straight along the 10 metre line, and it did go as far as a wing, but it wasn't ideal for him. But the referee's whistle has gone to bring the players back to the halfway. He's given a penalty against Jed. It looks like it's a penalty for something in the ruck. It must have come after the line out, because the line out was quite a bit further down into Kelso half. But it's given Dwayne Patterson a chance. A penalty. He's kicking it to touch this one again, giving him a chance to edge their way further up the field, Kelso, and he's put it into touch just about 25 metres from the Jed line. So this gives Kelso a chance to get back into the half. 15 minutes gone here at Poynter Park, and Kelso lead 7-0 from that early score they had for the pushover. Bruce McNeil was the man who touched it down. That line out comes out to Keith Melbourne, but he drops it back, but it goes backwards, picked up by Bruce McNeil, who burrows round the front of the line out, takes it up to 22. The ball's laid back nicely. Terry Logan gets it, he gives it to Liam Tait. He burrows his way in, he can't get to 22, he's well tackled, but the ball has gone loose, and it's been there. Harvey Keith, the hooker, the Jed hooker, fumbled the ball on the ground, can't play the ball on the ground, and he's rolled it forward, and he's given a penalty to Kelso. So we'll just stick with this a moment. Dwayne Patterson they've opted to go for the touch, and obviously Kelso are not looking for the 3 points to edge them into a 10-point lead. They're looking for tries today, there's no doubt about that. Kelso want to see how far they can get ahead. Both teams know that it's a vital game for them. Jed at the bottom of the league, they know they want to win here against their rivals today to pull them back up into the pack a little, or get closer. Kelso know they can stretch their gap away from the bottom of the division if they win today. The line out comes in, it's taken well by Keith Melbourne, only 5 metres out. They form a maul, Kelso, they're already pushing the maul down, but it's going down just before the line. They're only a metre short of the line. The forwards have the ball there, it's at the back of the ruck, it's gone down, it's been picked up in the middle there. Somebody can't quite see their melee of bodies. It looks like that's held up. Somebody dived over, but it's been held up. Referee is saying no, it's no try. It was Liam Tait actually that picked up and made a go for the line, made a dive for the line, but he's just been held up under a Jed body there on the line, and actually he's decided. Referee here this afternoon is Tom French from Glasgow, and he's given the decision Jed's way, so Jed have the chance to clear the lines. Gary Munro does that with a drop kick, so we must have been picked up there and touched down by Jed, taking over their own line. He's drop kicked it up to the halfway, so Kelso are going to have to build again with 17 minutes gone. The lead here is still with Kelso, but 17 minutes played in the game, and Kelso lead 7-0.
Back here at Scrimmerston, let's go back to Andrew Fleming.
Yes, you join us at 18 minutes on the clock as Donald Anderson converts Peebles' third try as they've taken real control of this match. You joined us earlier with Jack Webster had given the host with 3-0 lead with a penalty, but from then it's all been about Peebles. They responded with 10 minutes on the clock with a great try flown along the black line with James Hodgkiss, the centre, who picked the ball up from his bootlaces. A difficult pass, but controlled well out the back through David Collins and released Neil Tait to go down the right touchline. It got better for Peebles just 5 minutes later when it was all about the forwards. A Matty Carrier line out and the forwards went to work, which resulted in a try for Ross Brown, who powered his way over near the sticks, converted by Donald Anderson again. And just as you've joined us there, Peebles are on their third try in. A lovely play on the stand side there, the far touchline, and it looked like David Collins and Neil Tait combining for the fullback Collins to go through. Peebles taking real control of this match. It's now Berwick 3, Peebles 21.
In the Premiership, Embrackys 8, Curry 0 is the latest. Ben Appleson just adding a penalty to their earlier try. Glasgow Hawks 0, Herrits Blues 0, Hawick 7, Selkirk 0, Kelso 7, Jedforest 0, Mar 7, Musselburgh 7. A Craig Owenson try converted there at Fullerton Park has drawn that one level in the Premiership. In National 1, it's half time at Hartree Mill. Bigger 25, GHA 7. They're on 3 tries at the moment, looking for a try bonus. Gala 8, Dundee 8 is the latest score from Neverdale. GHK 0, Ayr 7. The first points of the board going the way of the visitors. Highland 7, Glasgow Accies 7, and Melrose 3, Watsonians 5. Struan Hutchison penalty to reply to the Watsonians' earlier try. Into Division 2, Aberdeen Grammar 0, Gordonians 5, and the Aberdeen Derby up there. Berwick 3, Peebles 21, if you just joined us here at Scrimmerston. Kirkcaldy 7, Falkirk 19, Lasswade 0, Stirling County 0, and Newton Stewart 7. Stewart's Melville taking the lead here with 10 points. That's the latest update for you. Let's go back to Poynter Park. Kelso against Jedforest. Waiting for us there is David Ferguson.
Yes, thank you. Welcome back to Poynter Park. We had a bit of excitement there for Kelso. Kelso thought they had their second try when hooker Ewan Knox pounced on a loose ball behind the dead ball line. Just behind the try line, I should say, of Jed. Jed had a clearance kick from Gary Munro, charged down, and he pounced on it, but a penalty was already being awarded by the referee against Kelso, and so Jed were able to clear their line. So it's still Kelso 7, Jedforest 0, with just over 20 minutes played here. Dwayne Patterson is away on his own. He's streaking through the middle. Here we've got the second Kelso try after a great break by Dwayne Patterson. He gives it to Archie Barber, the fullback, and Archie has one easy run in from just about 10 metres out and dives over. You can hear the delight of the Kelso crowd here this afternoon. They certainly were pleased with that. Frankie Robson was the one who created the other centre, an earlier try scoring opportunity for Kelso with another mazy run through the midfield. That time Dwayne Patterson, his centre partner, took the ball on a cracking line, and Patterson has some real pace. He really injected pace to take him from 35 metres out, streaking right into the 22, and was able to draw Lewis Young, the fullback, there and give it an easy pass to Archie Barber. Archie Barber, very quick player, was up with him, ready to take that pass and go over, make it very easy. So a cracking finish, good score. That's Kelso 12-0 to the good. We've got 21 minutes played. Dwayne Patterson is lining up the conversion as we watch. And this is certainly going the way of Kelso in this first quarter. Jed have really struggled to get outside their own half. And as we watch a conversion, yes, the flags go up. A good conversion from just outside the 22, just a few metres to the right hand side of the post. And that kind of kick is not going to worry someone of Patterson's ability. So that conversion takes the score to Kelso 14, Jedforest 0. We're now 22 minutes it's showing on the clock, the scoreboard here. And this is where we need to see whether Jed have something up their sleeve to come back into the game, because they're going to have to try and pen Kelso back in their own half and get their hands on the ball if they are going to make a game of this afternoon. These two teams, as we said earlier on, they're used to playing each other, great border rivals going back 100 years or so, near neighbours of course here in the Borders, and no love lost between these two teams, these two clubs, but this is the first time, we were saying earlier, historically this is the first time that the two have played each other in the Premiership in 24 years, first time since 1999 that the two have been in the Premiership together, and so yeah, quite a historic occasion here at Pointer Park this afternoon. Big line out throw taken by Jed, well in there, the key one earlier on, had a good chance and they missed their jumper earlier just by throwing it wide, just by throwing a bit off line out when they were in 22, but this time no problem, it comes all the way back and there's a big kick put in. It's a cracking kick actually, by Don Buckley. So the ball is coming along the 10 metre line, Don Buckley puts a good kick in with the right foot and it actually bounces perfectly into touch on the Kelso side, just about 5 metres from the Kelso corner flag. That's a cracking kick. That's exactly the kind of thing that Jed are needing to find more of, being able to pen Kelso back, just as I was saying earlier, and see if they can then get the hands on the ball. It's going to be a Kelso line out. It was a Jed kick deep into that 22, but it's Jed putting Kelso under pressure for a change, and it's taken by Cammy Brown in the line out. He soars high, there's Jed hands all over it trying to stop that ball coming out, trying to stop him making an easy pass back, but it goes to ground, a ruck's formed, and Kelso looking, Andy Tait is protesting to the referee. He's got his arms out, waving, not being able to get that ball out there. The ball's been held on the ground. What decision the referee giving? He's holding his hands down. He's not quite given a decision yet. We can't quite see from his signal. Oh, he's holding out, so it's a Kelso scrum. He's got his arm out to the side. So Kelso have got the ball back. That was a really messy, untidy bit of play there. They did win the line out, but and you have to say it's because of Jed's play. Jed managed to keep the ball in, didn't give Kelso the chance to get the ball back easily. They'd have been looking for a good punt down the park. Now they've got a scrum 5 metres from their own line. Kelso Park has been going well, just shading the scrum encounters so far. The Kelso Park are doing well, so you would expect they're going to put the ball in and they're going to come back for an easy clearance, but they're not quite lined up. No, it's Bruce McNeil that picks up at the back of the scrum. He gets a penalty. The referee's whistle goes and it's a penalty to Kelso. Bruce McNeil not too happy because he was on the rampage coming through a couple of Jed players and was clearly looking forward to taking on some more, trying to run out of their 22, but it's a penalty to Kelso. Dwayne Patterson steps up and he's going to clear the ball back down into touch. So a bit disappointed from Jed that they put Kelso under pressure. Not the best of kicks here by Dwayne Patterson. It's not going as far down the touchline as he'd normally expect. It's only just outside the 22. So again, it does perhaps then give Jed the chance to keep a bit of pressure, keep Kelso down here. It is a Kelso line out, just outside their 22. But Jed will be looking to try and spend a bit of time in the Kelso half and stop Kelso from putting together some of the easy attacking moves that they've shown so far that have resulted in 2 good tries for Kelso. Kelso still leading 14-0. Here they come breaking out from that line out maul, but it's been stolen by young scrum half Mark Glenn. He stole that ball back. Jed have got it. Jed counter attack. A great pass to Lewis Young, comes into the line. He takes it well. Oh, it's just held on to there, and it looks like it's going to be a try for Jed. It is Owen Cranston who started that off. We've now got a score for Jed. It's incredible actually. All that pressure, you think that they've put pressure on Kelso, but they've lost the chance to keep the ball down there. Kelso just come out on their own terms. They kick it up the touchline. They play the line out. Then they maul forward. But then from nothing, some great work by Mark Glenn, 17-year-old scrum half in the Jedforest ranks, who stripped that ball clean from one of the Kelso forwards and then launched a counter attack across the Kelso 10 metre line. It was Owen Cranston who picked it up. He made a great pass brought Lewis Young in, coming in on a great line. Lewis Young from full back, and then Owen Cranston went round the outside and he managed to get the ball back and went into the far left hand corner here just below the scoreboard at Pointer Park. So that starts to make the game a bit more interesting. Now we're waiting for a conversion attempt from Gary Munro right out on that far touchline as we look out here from the main stand. not much wind. It should be in his favour if there is any. His right foot swings, and a great kick, very high kick, and the flags go up. Cracking kick by Gary Munro to convert from the touchline there, and that makes the score. With 27 minutes gone here at Poynter Park, Kelso 14, Jedforest 7.
Let's go to Mansfield Park, Alan Lorimer.
Latest score at Mansfield Park is Hoyker leading 7 points to 0. A try from Connor Sutherland after 7 minutes from a break by Gareth Welsh close to the try line, and Kirk Ford adding the extras. 7-0.
And to Netherdale.
20 minutes played here at Netherdale, and Jordan McKee of Dundee Rugby Club has just seen yellow for a high hit on the front row. Michael Angus of Gala here. The score currently sits at 8 points apiece. 2 tries, 2 missed conversions and 2 penalties. Most of the game played either side of the halfway line. Really, really even contest so far here at Netherdale. Score currently Gala 8, Dundee 8.
And here at Scremiston, it's Berwick 3, it's Peebles 21. A little update here from Andrew Fleming.
Yes, Berwick getting a foothold in this match now as they put the pressure on the Peebles try line for the first time in this encounter, as referee Sean Niven awards a penalty to Berwick, which Adam Hardy tried to take quickly, but it's been called back. But no, Peebles I think will be a wee bit frustrated with their performance in the last 10 minutes. A couple of wayward line-outs from Matty Carrier, which you don't tend to expect, and Berwick just starting to get a foothold in this match, especially at the breakdown. And Ryan Wilson taking the penalty quickly. He's about 2 minutes shy of the tie line. Adam Hardy comes in, it looks like a try, and it is a try for hooker Nathan Melrose. Berwick needed a foothold back into this game, needed a try, and they've got one. That takes the score to Berwick 8, Peebles 21, with a kick still to come. And yeah, you have to feel that Berwick desperately needed that try to get anything in this match. And yeah, a slightly improved performance in the last couple of minutes, and they've got the try that they fully merit with, as I say, Berwick 8, Peebles 21 with the kick to come.
Andrew Fleming here. We'll keep an eye on that conversion. Jack Webster just coming up with the ball. Let's give you some latest scores. Premiership 13 points to 5 to Edinburgh Accies now against Curry. Still no score at Balgrey. Glasgow Hawks 0, Heriots Blues 0. It's Hoyk 7, Selkirk 0. Kelso 14, Jedforest 7 in our commentary game today. Jack Webster's just put over that conversion, so that takes the score up now to Berwick 10, Peebles 21 here at Scremiston. Mar 7, Musselburgh 14 now is the latest score. Second try for Musselburgh at Fullerton Park. Into National 1, it's Biggar 25, GHA 7, Gala 15, Dundee 8. Gala just taken the lead with a try. GHK 0, Ayr 14, a second try for Ayr in that match. Highland 7, Glasgow Accies 7 is a latest score, and Melrose 8, Watsonians 8 in Division 1. Division 2, it's Aberdeen 0, Gordonians 5 in the local derby up there. Berwick 10, Peebles 21 if you've just joined us here at Scremiston. Kirkcaldy 7, Falkirk 19, Newton Stewart 7, Stewart's Melville 10, and a latest score from National League 3, it's Hamilton 7, Boroughmuir 14. Let's return to Poynter Park and David Ferguson.
Dwayne Patterson, Kelso outside centres lining up, has kicked, and he's kicked so well this season, and the flags go up. No surprise there. Again, a penalty there from just outside the Jed 22. So I think Jed have certainly served notice that they are in this game by coming back with a good try there, and that has probably made Kelso think 30 minutes gone, 31 minutes gone in this half. Right, we'll let's take the points when they're on offer. We maybe don't have to go for a try every time. So he's opened up the score, taking it back to Kelso 17, Jedforest 7, and Kelso kick off deep into the Kelso half. It's picked up there by Robbie Tweedy, kicks it downfield. It's well deep into the Jed, going into the Jed half, but Gary Munro returns it with interest and makes it difficult. It's a bouncing ball. It actually, Dwayne Patterson, not sure where he touched it or not, but it's gone into touch. Bruce McNeil was certainly looking for him to take a quick line out, but Dwayne Patterson suggesting that he didn't kick it. He didn't touch it before it went into touch there, but I'm just looking to see what touchline the touch judge has given, but certainly he's given, it's a Jed ball, possibly a 50-22 there. It looked close, but it didn't look like it quite have the distance of 50-22, but it has. It's been given, so it's a Jed line out, and it's been picked up. Yes, it's been one in the middle there, yeah, by Ben Fotheringham. He takes it, it's gone down. Jed are building off the back of a ruck now, just in the 22. Comes back to Ben Fotheringham, but a penalty. She had a sharp blast of the referee's whistle there and he's given a warning there twice, I think, for against Kelso. He's making the point there, referee, Glasgow referee Tom French, making the point that it's 2 penalties he's given against Kelso now, and that one I think he's given for a high tackle, he suggested, against Andy Tait, the scrum half. But he's saying there's a couple of penalties he's been given against Kelso, so a warning there for Kelso to get their discipline in order. And it's Jed have just taken the kick, the penalty, just kicked it to touch for another line out. Now they're a lot closer, however. They're only about 15 metres away from the Kelso line. They've got a throw in from the right hand side of the main stand here, down the right hand side of the pitch as we watch from the main stand. And yeah, the throw's been taken, but it's not tidy. Ben Fotheringham got up, he got one hand to it, left hand flicked it back, but it was untidy. Kelso were through on it, and Jed still have the ball. They've managed to hold on despite the aggression there from Bruce McNeil, who was determined to get that ball back, but Jed have held on to it. They're picking and going, the forwards keeping it tight, 2 of them pushing forward each time. Oh, and it's come back to tight head Harry Meadows, but he's brought down to the ground. And we had a replacement, Hamish Stenhouse, who's just came on a few minutes ago for Jamie Ferguson in the back row. He picks up his blue scrum cap, takes it to the centre of the field, but it comes back now on the right hand side. Harry Meadows again, the big tight head, off he goes again. He had a good game last week against Mar, good ball carrier, and he's doing the same again now. He's starting to get himself in the ball. He's a big man, hard man to stop, and they take it forward. Kelso are working hard to keep them penned back. Andy Tait tackles again, brings the player down, but it's... And then it was Murray Woodcock that gets over the top against Blake Roth. Blake Roth had the ball, looked like he was doing okay on the ground. It was coming back in Jed, but the red scrum cap there of Murray Woodcock, who's back in the team this week. Young player, he's only a teenager, Murray Woodcock in the back row for Kelso. But he's certainly a one to watch, Murray Woodcock. He's a cracking player here in the Kelso ranks, and he has snuffed out that Jed attack virtually on his own by getting over the top of Blake Roth. He's won the penalty for Kelso for holding on the ground, and that's allowed Kelso to clear the ball up to halfway. Another good bit of work. Jed will be really frustrated with that. A good attack they had, and they've not managed to turn that into points. But we can now welcome with me my co-commentator today, Alan Tait, who I know, Alan, you've been over over at Melrose Green Yards today, but I'm glad to see you could come and join us.
Yeah, just a nice little dinner at Melrose, and speaking with the legend Jim Telfer, just a Lions sort of question and answer, and no, very enjoyable, but I made a pretty great break. And
here we go, Cammy Brown has made a break up the middle of the park, showing what he used to do last year as a centre, a winger. He can play any positions, can Cammy Brown. He's gone all literally halfway right into the 20. Now it's Big Terry Logan, the big tight head prop, who's tried to play the ball wide. He was going over the top. He was trying to find a pass there to Robbie Tweedy, but threw over backwards. He just couldn't. He put it too high and it bounced into touch. But it's come back for a scrum to Kelso back in the middle of the park. But Cammy Brown, an impressive player, Cammy Brown, when he gets the ball.
Yeah, I remember him on the wing. He was, he was a big, strong winger, and then obviously they've converted him, and he runs around in the pack now, and he doesn't look out of place, does he? I mean, when you put inside balls in like that, you want somebody hitting it with pace, and he's certainly got that.
Yeah, and he's playing today when they were in the pack. When they're attacking, he often goes to number 8. But he's playing the second row. He's taking the lineouts today, but on the hoof when he gets breaking, he likes to look for space. He doesn't just look to hit the man, and that's what gave Kelso that great break right up through the middle, through the guts of the Jed team there. And that's 2 or 3 times we've seen that from Kelso, and it's given them a good platform inside the Jed 22. It's their scrum. Scrum half, Andy Tait puts it in. It comes back to Bruce McNeil. He picks it up at the back, and then he goes in the charge. Ball one-handed, holding it out there. He gets brought to the ground. Andy Tait moves it again. Cammy Brown moves it on to Liam Tait. Now they're just about 15 metres from the Jed line. They're moving it to the right-hand side. Frankie Robson takes the ball. He's away on. Made it. There was nobody stopping Frankie Robson there. Frankie, a point to prove perhaps there. He was tackled earlier on after a cracking break. There's a bit of argy-bargy afterwards. The Jed players don't seem too happy with something that went on there. Lewis Young is having a go at the referee, but Frankie looked like he might get stopped 5 metres short. There's 2 or 3 defenders round about him, tacklers there, but he wasn't for moving the ball there, Alan. He knew where he was going. He knew where the line was.
Yeah, he's always had that, Frank. He's a big, strong unit, and he does what he does. You know, he does it well. He knows that that's his game, and he carries really, really well. And he's had a great career, young Frankie. And as I say, he's still got a fair bit to give, but he's a big, strong 12.
Yeah, and I suppose a certain Alan Tait with a 12-inch back would have done something similar, or a 13.
I was never that size. Oh dear me, I wish I was. When I should have legs like that. But no, Frank, it's an interesting one with Frank. He's obviously a farmer in Yetham near me where I live, and I see him quite often. And look, when Frankie was a youngster, I remember Newcastle Falcons were eyeing him up because of just his stature and the way he played the game. He then I think he went away to Australia and served his time as a joiner, but he's come back and he's playing as well as ever.
Yeah, and he's a key linchpin in this team. And Patterson there puts a conversion over from the far right hand side. He doesn't miss much, Dwayne Patterson. He's got a very trusty right boot, and that takes the score here to 24 points to 7 to Kelso with just 2 minutes of this first half remaining. Jed have had their chances, they've had the team in at Kelso 22, but the key difference is they haven't been able to turn it into points other than that one try. Very good try that they did score, but again that came off a turnover. Off their own ball, they haven't really managed to manufacture a try chance, and they'll be disappointed with that. Something for them to look on at half time. 24 points to 7. Kelso certainly have turned their possession into points in this first half. They've had three tries converted by Dwayne Patterson, and they've had a penalty as well.
Good dodge.
Murray Hasty just clearing from his own half, and the ball comes back. The boys are jumping around. Kelso players not quite sure who's going to take it, but it's picked up there by Archie Barber, and he plays it back just inside the Kelso half, close to the big stand here. Full to Gunnels, as we've said today, with Kelso and Jed fans. And Kelso get the ball back, having cleared out the wrong way. Murray Hasty brings Terry Logan, big tight head prop onto the ball. He charges up to halfway, eventually brought down. Murray Hasty dummies, he puts it out to Frankie Robson. Frankie puts it back inside to Dwayne Patterson. Now over halfway, Dwayne Patterson manages to scurry and make another metre. And then a little chip forward by Andy Tait. It's not the best. It goes back to the scrum half, but oh yes, young Mark Glenn, only 17 years old,
good young player.
Did really well there to get Jed out of that tricky situation. And Jed are now with ball in hand back attacking the halfway line, and they've got men outside here, but they've gone back inside. The big Kiwi number 8,
big
Ben Fotheringham. Oh, and he's well tackled by the Irish lock in the Kelso team, Keith Melbourne, and the ball dribbles forward. You hear the whistle, and that in fact is half time. The referee decides he's seen enough there. That was unfortunate by Jed. They had the ball, they were going forward, but that perhaps sums up some of Jed's play in the first half, that they've looked like they can do something when they've got the ball. But other than the one try that they scored, which was a good try in the far corner, they've not managed to hold on to the ball long enough to really threaten.
Yeah, look, I watched them last week against Mara. You know, they got 31 points. They scored some good tries last week, but they're just not getting players on the end of breaks. You know, they're making the line breaks, but you've got to get it back on the end of them. You know, your centres have got to be sniffing about there, or your half back. You know, so they'll maybe go in at half time and say, look, we're making breaks, we're making, you know, good yardage, but we've got to get players on the end of them.
And your thoughts on this Kelso team, and what you've seen, Alan, this season, and what you've seen here today?
Yeah, look, they're a good, young, exciting team. They were, you know, I watched them a couple of times last year, and I watched them against Selkirk down here a month ago, and you know, they lost that game, unfortunately. But yeah, there's some good young players, Dwayne Patterson, you know, Archie Barber, and then as I say, you've got your rock steady guys. You know, your Frankie Robson's in the back, the 12, and then Bruce McNeil. You know, they've got a good balance at the minute. Melbourne in the middle, so you know, fair, you know, good on them, like, you know, good local lads.
Yeah, it is, and that's coming together. And we've seen that in the first half. I think it was really important in today's game to see who could get up early on, get those scores. They had a score after just 5-6 minutes. That's clearly settled Kelso. It's made it harder for Jed. Jed have come back, they've scored a good try, so that should lift Jed and show that if they can hold on to the ball, they are capable of scoring. But half time here, it's Kelso in command. Kelso lead by 24 points to 7.
David Ferguson and Alan Tait at Poinder Park today. Well, it's half-time here at Scrimmerston as well. It's Berwick against Peebles in National 2. Andrew Fleming's been watching this one.
Yes, Stuart, at half-time at Scrimmerston, it's Berwick 10, Peebles 28. It was opened by Jax Webster on 6 minutes of the penalty as Berwick went 3 points in front, but from then it's all been about Peebles, really. Tries from Neil Pate, Ross Brown, David Collins, before Nathan Melrose responded for Berwick. for a score of 21-10 on the half-hour mark. Berwick were starting to get back into the game, and some good carries from the likes of Darren Goodfellow and Ryan Wilson. They started to get a foothold in the game, but a real sucker punch on the stroke of half-time as a good offload on the middle of the park released Donald Anderson, who strolled in from distance to convert his own try. People's lead by 18 points at the break, and Berwick, who've competed well against teams all season, they've held their own. They've bonus points to show from it. They're going to struggle. Yeah, they're struggling so far this match. They'll need to see some improvements in the second period.
Half-time at Netherdale. We can join Sam Matthews.
Half-time at Netherdale, and Gala have their bonus point wrapped up already for the 4 tries. The score currently sitting at 27-13. The story of the half has been sin bins. 2 sin bins for Dundee, and most of the points have come for Gala in those 10-minute blocks. Dundee will be looking to keep all 15 men on the park for the second half and get some points to get themselves back in this. Half-time at Netherdale, Gala 27, Dundee 13.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio. Borders College is your local community college with qualifications recognised and valued by employers. To find out more, visit borderscollege.ac.uk today. Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
Borders water, Borders barley and Borders people. That's what makes the Borders Distillery. Working exclusively with local farmers, the Borders Distillery is bringing whiskey making back to the region. Our award-winning distillery is open to everyone, where you can meet the people behind the scenes, explore our wash house and shop quality local products. Tour your local distillery and discover the spirit of the Borders. Full details at thebordersdistillery.com. Always enjoy our spirit responsibly. Under 18s must be accompanied by an adult when visiting the Borders Distillery.
Your pet deserves the best, and that's why your pet deserves the care and treatment offered by Border Vets. We focus on delivering the very best care to each and every one of our patients and clients. We get to know you and your pet and offer treatments tailored to every animal's individual needs from our conveniently located surgeries in Galashiels, Selkirk and Earlston. Ask about our Pet Health Club for your cat or dog, giving you peace of mind by spreading the cost of vaccinations, regular checks and more. From dental care to travelling abroad and the whole range of veterinary services, bordervets.co.uk is where you'll find everything you need to know. Border Vets, where your pets are part of our family.
This is Rugby Radio, brought to you by Borders College.
Catch a star if you can, wish for something special. Let it be me. My love is free. Sing a song to yourself. Think of someone listening. One melody. You're up for me. Just for you and me, if you let me love you, I'll paint a masterpiece just for you to see. If you let me love you, let me love you. Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am. Are you? Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am. Are you? Are you ready? Are you ready for love? You're the one, like the sun, shine your love around me. You'll always be the one for me. Say the word, and I'll be there, loving you forever. Don't let me go. so. We'll hear the music ring from the mountain tops to the valley below us. We'll serenade the world with a lullaby, so the angels will know us, angels will know us. Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am. Oh, yeah. Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am. 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 Oh, are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am. Oh, yes. Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am. Oh, yeah. Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am. Oh, yeah. Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am. Oh, yeah. Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am. Oh, yeah. Are you ready?
Elton John playing on Rugby Radio. 10 minutes to 4 is the time, and here's your latest scores. Half time in the Premiership: Embrackies 13, Curry 5. It's Hoyk 7, Selkirk 3, Kelso 24, Jedforest 7, and how about this one? Mar 7, Musselburgh already with the try bonus 28, and the Bill McLaren Shield up for grabs at that one. I think Hoyk were hoping that Mar would get through this one, and then it would be back at Mansfield Park in a couple of weeks' time to have a crack at that. But the way things are going at the moment, Musselburgh are going to be collecting the Bill McLaren Shield, which could be for the first time in their history. So some strange things happening in the Premiership. In National 1, Biggar 32, GHA 28. Biggar have now got the try bonus and are coming back. They were 32-7 down. They've scored 3 converted tries, so 32-28. Biggar still looking for their first win this season. It's Gala 27, Dundee 13 at half-time. GHK 7, Ayr 19 at half-time. Half-time at Canal Park, it's Highland 15, Glasgow Accies 7. Big game between third and second in that one, and Melrose 8, Watsonians 8 is a half-time score. Into Division 2, Aberdeen 0, Gordonians 5 in the derby at Rubislaw. Berwick 10, Peebles 28 down here at Scremerston. Kirkcaldy 7, Falkirk 19 is a half-time score, and a very close one in the match at Balnock. It's Newton Stewart 14, Stewart's Melville 15 at the moment. Hamilton 7, Boroughmuir 21 in National 3, and if you're following Earlston, who are unbeaten at the moment, they're beating Edinburgh University Medics 26-12 at half-time at the moment. OK, let's go back to Poynter Park and rejoin Alan Tait and David Ferguson for Kelso against Jedforest.
Thank you, Stuart. We've just kicked off in the second half here. Kelso leading at half-time, 24 points to 7, as I say, and Alan Tait alongside me today. Alan knows much about the Kelso Rugby and Kelso Jed rivalry. As well as being a Kelso player for many years, Alan, you also have some Jed family roots in there as well. Some Jed family here today.
Yeah, aye, the brother-in-law just sat alongside us here. He's watching his boy playing Lewis on the wing, the elders. So, you know, I married Caroline, and they've always been strong Jed, and I had to put up with it, I suppose, when I was a youngster. Old Tam, their dad, late dad, giving us stick.
It is a rivalry, there's no doubt about it, is it? I mean, Kelso and Jed, you know, they see themselves as being the nearest neighbours, don't they?
Oh, I mean, most definitely. I can remember, you know, you didn't sleep, you know what I mean, the night before when you know, we had a great team as well. Again, in them days, you know, the Andrew Kerrs, Jeffries, Paxsons and Bairds, you know, but we still had a real battle going up to Jed. It was always a battle against them, you know. The Laidlaws and Liddles, and you know, they always made it tough when you went up there, and many sleepless nights thinking about the Jed game the next day.
I can imagine. Well, Kelso there on the attack in the Jed half. There was a penalty to Kelso on halfway there, and Dwayne Patterson, the reliable centres, kicked it inside into touch inside the Jed 22. So we've got the Ewan Knox, the Kelso hooker, with the ball in his hand, ready to throw into the line out Keith Melbourne looking like he's going for it, Cammy Brown as well, but it's Murray Woodcock who aims for it, but it's a poor throw. It goes wide across to the Jed side. Jed pick up there, rescue it through Clarkskeldon, and they move out into midfield. The players are being held up. Andy Tait and Frankie Robson holding the player up in the midfield, holding up Hamish Stenhouse, but he's been allowed to get to ground. They were hoping they might get the ball coming back their way in a maul there, but Kelso Jed had been allowed to play on, and they ship it wide. Gary Monroe, a wee chip over. Oh, Murray Woodcock always, he charged it down, but he couldn't hold on to the ball. It went forward, and Lewis Young picks up at the back. He comes outside the 22. A good mazy run. Bruce McNeil just manages to hold on there to pick up that ball that's chipped ahead. And Kelso have got the ball back. Here they come on the far flank, down the far side of the flag goes up to suggest that there's a foot in touch there. Yeah, it looks like it.
Quick
throw. It was Robbie Tweedy. They've taken a quick throw, but I don't think the officials are in sync with the Jed team there. They're having a wee chat across the far side, while Clarkskeldon was all for attacking up the middle of the park from a quick throw. But Robbie Tweedy got the ball on the far touchline, but he didn't have a lot of space to work in, just foot in touch, and it's a Jed throw just inside the 10 metre, their own 10 metre line in their own half. Jed have got a chance to see if they can hold a bit of possession early in this second half. Ball's taken at the back, but again the line out is not straight. That's plagued Jed a bit today. They've had 2 or 3 throws that have not been straight today, which have really counted against them. And simple things like that, Alan, isn't it, that can really cost you?
It kills you, and as I say, that's 2 line-outs gone now, and I'm surprised with Big Clark. Obviously he was with the Knights in the championship and in the sprint, and he's a really good line-out caller. You know, he really stepped up to the mark. Our forwards coach Lewis Kamite was really happy to let Clark call the line-out. So I don't know why he's got the tail there. Just get it at the front and just make sure you win the possession.
So it's a scrum to Kelso.
A big scrum from Jed.
But Jed have really pushed them back. They have. Kelso have managed to hold on to the ball. They get it out the back. It comes to Dwayne Patterson. He puts a chip across. Lewis Young's chasing it inside his own 22. He gets it before it hits touch, but then he clears it. He didn't have much room to work in. 2 players both up on him, Archie Barber and Robbie Tweedy there, very quick to get up and make sure he didn't have the chance to put the ball up the field, and it's gone out into touch just outside the Jed 22. Yeah, Kelso are working hard to make sure that even when Jed do get the ball, they don't get to do what they want with it. You know, they have to get rid of it quickly.
Yeah. It almost feels like Kelso's come out to play the game in deep in Jed's territory, and which is a surprise really, because I thought when they're throwing the ball about, it's, you know, they're dangerous, Kelso. So they're obviously playing this little bit of tactical game at the minute, just trying to squeeze Jed.
Keep the game in the Jed half. Yeah, we've seen a change there. Ashton Asante has come on for Terry Logan, tight head prop. As a line out comes in, Keith Melbourne beautifully scoops it out of the air with his left hand, and they've got a maul now on the go. The Kelso are trying to maul their way into the Jed 22, seeing if the power of their pack can take them forward. They've got them into 22, but they've been told they have to use it. Andy Tait now ships it. Out comes to Murray Hastie. He plays it to Dwayne Patterson. Dwayne Patterson ships it round to Angus Roberts. He's got it out wide. It's all the way out to Robbie Tweedy. He's now about 5 metres from the Jed line. He's held up, he's tackled there. It goes to the ground, and Kelso are going to have to build again, but they use the forwards. Cammy Brown comes and takes it. He's only about 1 metre short. He's held again. Good little darting run by Cammy Brown, the second row. The ball's coming back. It's gone to Murray Hastie again. He's going to use the backs instead, puts it back to Dwayne Patterson, but he's tackled. Big hit from Fotheringham. He managed to bounce off it, rolls back in towards the post. It's only again and now about 5 metres, Kelso, from the Jed line, and the ball's come. It's held in there too long. Jed looked like they're offside there, but referee's letting it go. He's got his arm out. So Kelso have are playing. It's a free ball here. They've got a penalty. 2 Jed players coming up offside. I think the referee is looking for the miscreant, certainly giving them a warning as to boys coming out. I think the fact they were caught there, Murray, Andy Tait looked like he was playing it. He dummied the ball from the back of the ruck, so I think he's going with a yellow card. I think there had been a warning that's possibly that could be a team yellow card, as we used to call it. I think it's Don Buckley who's got it. That will be a big loss for Kelso. Don Buckley's arguing with Dwayne Patterson about it. Dwayne Patterson had a lot to do with it, to be honest, but That's costly. And I think, would you think that was just for that coming out of defence there and coming out too quickly?
As I say, I'm not too sure what he's giving it for, but it's a bit harsh on Jed, I felt really. But he's obviously thought that they're giving away too many penalties in that area. And now they're going to squeeze him in the scrum as well. So
yeah, I think that's right. I think Don Buckley, we can see down there trying to explain to the coaches that he didn't think he did much wrong. Yeah, I think he's pointing out that Andy Tait had gone with a quick dummy and didn't play it from the ruck, and so it caught Jed defence coming up out the line. But I think that was for a number of penalties. I think that's what the referee was saying. There've been a number of warnings to Jed, and he's just decided, okay, that's enough, it's going to be a yellow card. So Jed down to 14 men, they're defending. It's a scrum to Kelso, just 5 metres from the Jed line. If Jed can hold out here, they'll have done well. Bruce McNeil picks up and he's going wide. He is well tackled there by young Mark Glenn, scrum half, and penalty, Jed have got a penalty.
That was strange. That was a strange move. I don't know what they were thinking about there, Kelso. I mean, Bruce going on his own on a blind side, trying to beat the back row and the scrum half. I don't know what was going on. The winger had come across into open field, so there was a bit of miscommunication there, I think.
Yeah, that's a strange one. Sometimes you think it's simpler. The game is simpler than some players.
Well, Kelso were a man up. The 12 went off, and I just thought they're the perfect scrum on the left hand side to set up a backs move when they're a back down, and they went on a blind side when strange.
Yeah, I mean, it's that was definitely a good chance for Kelso there, good opportunity for them to add to their tally, and they've wasted that and let Jed come away with the ball. So it's Jed line out. It's gone a bit messy in the middle there,
free kick.
But it's a free kick now to Kelso just outside the Jed 22. Jed not giving the ball back, which doesn't please Andy Tait. Wanting the ball, wanting to be able to move from it really quickly. But it's Kelso just attacking just outside the Jed 22 with just 9 minutes into the second half here at Poynter Park. Kelso are leading by 24 points to 7. Been no more points in the second half so far.
It's interesting here with Kelso ball. I mean, they're a man up in the backs. You'd think they'd really stretch Jed here on the width. Scrum's in a perfect position to exploit that. They've got wider this time.
They've called him, and I think they called Archie Barber in there. I think they're reading your mind, Alan, realising that there's a great opportunity. You don't really have to worry about defending. There, it's a Kelso scrum. Here they go. The ball comes out the back. It's picked up by Cammy Brown, who passes to Frankie Robson, brings it back in. He's been taken out. Cammy Brown, that's a sore one. He's lying a bit of pain on the ground, but Kelso march on into the 22. Keith Melbourne's got the ball. He takes on 2 players. He's very hard to bring down. Puts the ball back, but it comes back off a foot and then a hand and a face. And it's a penalty given.
Looks like a yellow card again here.
Another penalty against Jed. The referee is not happy with this. He's talking to his touch judge as well, warning Jed. He's looking for a Jed player. I think he's looking to see if he can speak to Clark Skeldon, the captain, which he's doing now, speaking to Clark, telling him what he's not happy with. There's clearly been 2 or 3 penalties where Jed have managed to stop Kelso's attack, but clearly referee Tom French believes it's illegal. They're not doing it legally.
I think they're going to go with a shot for goal. I think they've given up really, and just Kelso's just going to take the 3 points and move on from that phase.
Is that what you would do?
24, 27, 7. I mean, I think they've been knocking at the door long enough, and they maybe just thought that they've just outplayed this phase, so just take the points, start again.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kelso, we saw them do that in the first half. We saw them, they went for the tries early on. They got a couple of tries on the board, and then they decided, okay, it's not a bad idea if we just take 3 points when they're off for 2. So, 10 minutes into the second half, they're currently leading 24-7. This would extend their lead to 20 points in this second half. It's Dwayne Patterson again. He's just a couple of metres inside the 22. He's about 5 metres left of the posts, maybe a little bit more. With his right boot, he steps up, he gives it a good kick high, the top of the post. The linesmen look at each other, the assistant referees, and the flags go up. That's a good penalty for Patterson. He doesn't miss many. He's extended the lead here. Kelso in command, certainly. 10 minutes into the second half, it's Kelso 27, Jedforest 7.
Back here at Scremiston, here's Andrew Fleming.
Yes, we're about 12 minutes into the second half here, and in all honesty it's been all Berwick in the second half into the possession and territory, but still nothing to show of it as a long kick goes downfield. causing a bit of havoc for the People's defence, and a penalty awarded to Berwick just outside the 22. Taken quickly by the second row, Alex Orr, who makes inroads into the People's 22. Berwick, you feel, really need a score right now. They've had all the pressure and territory, but a few wayward passes and some real dogged People's defensive work has kept them at bay, and People still maintain their lead at 28-10. There's been a change at scrum half at half time with Cammy Rogerson coming on for Adam Hardy, but yet no, Berwick not able to reap the rewards of their good work in the second half as they make some good inroads again. You feel they do need a try to make any game of this in the second half, and but still nothing to show yet as it comes out the backhand side. Aidan Rosie, not seen much of him ball in hand, the real talisman for Berwick on the wing, but nothing to show of it so far. But 50 minutes gone in the second half, and it's still Berwick 10, People's 28.
Some extraordinary score lines up and down the country at the moment in the Premiership. Edinburgh Accies 21, Curry 5 is the latest score. Glasgow Hawks 24, Heriots Blues 7, Hawick 10, Selkirk 8. A tight one there at the moment. And Kelso 27, Jedforest 7 also. Mar 14, Musselburgh 28. So Musselburgh with the 4-try bonus, but Mar coming back with a second try of their own. Now, how about this one? We know that Biggar have not won this season. They were leading 32 points to 7. There's 2 minutes remaining. It's now Biggar 32, GHA 40. It looks like they're going to come out of this with just the 1-try bonus and still with no win. Extraordinary happenings at Hartree Mill. Gala 32, Dundee 20. A Scott Doig try for Dundee reduces the gap at Netherdale. GHK 7, Ayr 19 is the latest score in National 1. Also National 1, Highland 15, Glasgow Accies 7. You know, of course, Glasgow Accies have been scoring tries for fun. 2 60-point plus wins and a 40-point one against Gala, but they've met their match today. It seems Highland 15, Glasgow Accies 7. Melrose have taken the lead against Watsonians with their second try. It's now Melrose 15, Watsonians 8. In Division 2 still, Aberdeen Grammar 0, Gordonians 5. That 1 try for Gordonians separating the sides. Berwick 10, Peebles 28 here, but Berwick very much in command in the second half, but they do need some points on the board. Kirkcaldy 7, Falkirk 26. Falkirk get their try bonus, and Newton Stewart 28, Stewart's Melville 18. That's the try bonus for Newton Stewart now in National 2. Unbeaten Earlson winning at Edinburgh University Medics. That's at Peffermill, 26 points to 12. Okay, you're up to date. Let's go back to Poynter Park.
Thank you, Stuart. And it's become even harder here for Jedforest this afternoon. We mentioned earlier a yellow card for Dom Buckley. That's been followed only about 10 minutes later by another yellow card to Jedforest. So they're down to 13 men at the moment. It's Ben Fotheringham, their number 8, who's seen yellow this time. Referee was speaking to him, warning him, I think, about another succession of penalties. It's not really clear whether he got the yellow card for that or whether it was his talking back. He didn't seem happy with the ref. He seemed to talk back to him, and then the ref flourished a yellow card from his pocket and sent Fotheringham off to the sin bin. So Jed are trying at the moment to work their way out of their own 22, their own half, sorry. They're up at their own 10-metre line, and big Harry Meadows, the big tight head, is trying to give them a good lead. He's doing quite a good job of it at the moment. And then Clark Geldon taking them to halfway here, but that's going to be quite a blow. Alan Tait, Jed 13 men.
Again, Ben's he's played for the Knights a few times. He's a real good player, obviously a Kiwi, and you know he just can't afford to do that. He knows his team's down to 14. You just got to be quiet and just get on with your job, and you know, be nobody more disappointed than him that he's got himself sin bin and put his team under more pressure down to 13 now.
13. We're 56 minutes played in this game, so we're just 16 minutes into the second half, and it's Kelso 27, Jed 7, and Kelso managed to steal that ball from a ruck just around the halfway line, and it's Murray Woodcock who takes the ball forward, but his players, his supporting players were not there quick enough. Jed got over the top of it very quickly. That's a good steal back for Jed. They've got a penalty just inside their own half, and standoff Gary Munro will just put this well down the touchline, I imagine. Not going quite as far, holding up. There must be a little bit of a wind there, holding up in the wind. I thought he'd make that to 22, but it's gone just about 50 metres into the Kelso half. But it's a Jed line-out, chance to hold the ball, Alan, and see if they can actually put an attack together here.
Yeah, it's they'll just want to eat some minutes up, I think, now, so obviously they'll try and take this in and maybe a little bit of a more to 5 man.
Blake Roth takes it high, soars high. Another Kiwi in that Jed pack takes the ball. Jed got it coming back. And the young scrum half, Mark Glenn, feeds to Gary Monroe, who puts it out to Owen Cranston. He's bullocking his way forward there, but he makes a good 5 metres, but then he's pulled down. Glenn goes the other way. He looks at the ball out. Blake Roth, who's got it again, is distinguishable, long dark hair. But good then break. Young scrum half, Glenn's got it again. He's pulled it on and he puts it on to Hamish Stenhouse. Moves it, but they're not quite sure which way they're going. Jed shift the ball again. It's Roth who's got it again. Takes him Monroe's pass and he comes back in midfield, but they're not really making any headway, any ground forward here. Kelso are working hard to cut them off both left and right. The ball comes back to Clark Skeldon, who's eventually tackled. He moves it on. Harvey Keith, the big hooker, has made some good yards there for Jed. Comes back and gets Skeldon again, who goes forward, but not got many men with him. It's hard ball coming back. It's not coming back quickly, but there's a penalty coming for Jed anyway. It comes out from Gary Monroe to Harry Meadows. Meadows again makes some good yards before he's pulled down. The ball's flipped out Gary Monroe, but he's not got much support out here. He's moved it out to Owen Cranston, but Cranston struggles. Not got a lot of men around him, but it comes back for the penalty. Penalty to Jed outside the 22. But Jed will be pleased that they're managing to hold on to some ball here.
Skelly had a big say in that. He had some good carries in there, and they just played the carries, played the carries, milked the penalty. That's perfect rugby when you're a man down. So, Skelly had a big part of that there. I think he obviously told the forwards what he wanted from them, just carry off the 9, and as I say, they've got themselves a penalty.
They have, and they'll be delighted to see Don Buckley coming back. Gary Monroe's strange penalty from him. He was only about 5 metres outside the 22 and he's hit touch about a metre outside the 22, so he's gone a bit lateral. But Don Buckley's back, so they're up to 14 men and a couple of changes there. Max Purvis coming off the bench. He'll be going into the front row for Jed, and Aidan Bambrick also coming on at scrum half, so he's going to replace Mark Glenn. The 17-year-old has had a good shift today for Jed. He's been one of the brighter sparks in the Jed side here today, no doubt about that. But Owen Cranston coming off here as well. He's had a good game for Jed today, Owen Cranston, so I'm a wee bit surprised that he's coming off. The line out comes in, it's a bit loose, it comes back on the Kelso side. Keith Melbourne picks it up, but he loses the ball in contact. Loses it forward, it's back to Jed. Jed have got the ball back after losing their line out. Hamish Stenhouse, big blue scrum cap. He's trying to make way forward, but Liam Tait pulls him to the ground eventually. As Clark Skeldon dummies the ball going through his legs.
That was a dummy, that.
Takes it on. And then it's moved. Big Max Purvis is on. He's got the ball, he goes forward, but he's brought to the ground, lays it back very well. Comes back to Gary Monroe. Now he's trying to bring the backs into play. Don Buckley has the ball, he's dancing around this way and that, and he manages to escape the first tackle, and he's away again, and then he chips the ball over, but he's tackled by Liam Tait. He's not very happy.
Penalty, though. He's got the penalty.
Deciding that Liam Tait has tackled him late. I'm not sure the referee knows quite who has done it. Liam Tait's running over at this side, trying to stay out of the way. He's got his head down. The referee is asking, has he worked out who it is? Oh, he has. He's calling him over. He sees it's Liam Tait. Liam tried his best there. He almost got away with hiding. I think the assistant referee helped him with that, but it was a nice little move by Don Buckley. He managed to beat a few tacklers, and then he chipped the ball into the Kelso 22, but he had his heels tapped. And I think the referee feels that he's going to even things up a little bit here today, so it's a yellow card for Liam Tait. Agree with that, Alan?
Look, I mean, he's dished him out pretty. He'd done the two Jed boys. We were kind of scratching our heads why he'd done that. So I don't suppose that's something we shouldn't expect from the referee when he's done it to Jed twice.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I mean, Kelso, Jed were on the attack, and they've now stayed trying to keep the ball in the attack, but they had it turned over there just inside the 22. No, Kelso went back.
They're stuck in a bit of a predicament, Jed, because they're just tapping it now rather than going for the usual 5 metre line out, because they're losing their line out, so they're just trying to run everything, which is fair enough.
They are, and they're getting up to now just 5 metres from the line, but they didn't protect the ball well there. Kelso came over the top, came through, but the referee saw something he wasn't happy with, and he's given a penalty against Kelso. It's to Jed, just about 10 metres outside, just from the Kelso line here, down on the left hand side of the pitch by the main stand in the corner. So
they're going for it. They've got to go at the front. They've just got to get the front ball and try and get them all to go over.
That's what they're going to try and do. I think this big Jed pack, Clarkskelden will be quite happy if they can take this line out and see if they can push Kelso back over their own line. We've played just over the hour here at Pounder Park, starting to get a wee bit gloomier here in Kelso, but it's not gloomy for the home side. They are leading by 27 points to 7 here, and they've just got a line. We've got a line out for Jed. If we'll just stick with a line out for Jed here, they're only 5 metres out. It's probably the best attacking opportunity we've seen Jed have here in the second half, and we'll see if we can if they can do something with that, this bit of possession. They've done well to hold on to the ball. It just shows how important Don Buckley is to them. Alan, you know, is his work in the middle of the field. We talked about Clarkskelden, another big player for them, driving them forward, keeping them on a 22. Don Buckley, a nice little bit of ingenuity, can just come out the sin bin onto the field. He wins that penalty and gives them the chance to have a bit
he's
of a
always
play.
had something about him, Dom. I remember watching him when he was a Harlequin many moons ago, and he was a good footballer then, and he's a big old lad now, but he's always had that rugby skill about him, whether it's a kick or a pass.
And they're on the line. Jed are getting to the line. Blake Roth took that line out really well, and now it's been driven over. It looks like Harvey Keith, the hooker, who is it a try or is it a hold up? That's an interesting signal by the referee. His arms are very well apart, suggesting held up. Now he's going for a timeout. Try?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know if he's looking for help from the video officials. There aren't any here today at Pounder Park. He's got to make a decision. He's speaking to his assistant referee.
The Jed boys aren't running back anyway. They must think it's not a try. They're just standing.
Right.
Oh, he's giving a try.
He's giving a try. You're right. Jed didn't seem too convinced, but it is a try. It is a try to Jed. So as we said there, Jed were looking to drive them over. It was actually a good line out from Blake Roth, who took it in there, and they did drive their way to the line. It looked like Harvey Keith will get that confirmed. The hooker who came round the back, he didn't need to pick up and drive over. It was just picking up a loose ball there and touching down. And the referee took a while to make the decision, but he has indeed given it. And so Gary Munro, the Jed standoff from just outside the 22, just 15 metres, just 5 metres in from the touchline. He's got a chance to get Jed back to up to 14 points and within 13 points, and it's a cracking kick. Good kick. So there we go. The game is maybe back on here with 65 minutes played. So we've only got 15 minutes left of this game at Pounder Park, but the score now is Kelso 27, Jedforest 14.
Berwick against Peebles, Andrew Fleming.
Yeah, as you join us as Cammy Rogerson makes a break up to halfway for Berwick. The scrum half substitute came on at half time, but no change in the scoreline as it was at half time. It's still Berwick 10, Peebles 28. For all the pressure Berwick have had in the second half, they're unable to turn it into points, which will be hugely frustrating for the players and the coaching staff. But Peebles is showing their experience in their at the breakdown, and good defensive work has kept the Berwick forwards at bay after some good carries from the likes of Darren Goodfellow, Ryan Wilson, and Stu Farnaby in there as well, but nothing to show of it yet so far for Berwick, as we've got about 15 minutes left, I would reckon, in this match. The knock-on from Berwick really relieves the pressure there for Peebles. Jack Webster booting the ball away in frustration. Score here at Scremerston's Berwick 10, Peebles 28.
Yes, very dark here at Scremerston at the moment, as remember the clocks go back tonight as well. You do get an extra hour in bed. Let's go to Netherdale.
61 minutes played here at Netherdale, and Dundee are slowly walking back to the halfway line after Gala have put their 6th try of the match on the board there through Jack Eason. Scott Peppers has been running the show, targeting Dundee's blitz defence with stab kicks through, which has been the talk of the game throughout the whole day. Gala 39, Dundee 20.
So good afternoon for Gala as well, currently in 8th place. Latest score from Hartry Mill, unbelievable. This Bigger 39, GHA 40 is a latest score, and time running out for Bigger to get their first win of the season as well. In fact, it's a penalty for Bigger. Bigger have done it, 42 points to 40. Extraordinary result at Hartry Mill, and at last they have got their first win of the season down in 10th place, beating a very good GHA side, so absolute drama there. Latest scores in the Premiership. How about this one? Edinburgh Accies 31, Curry 5. Emrak is with a try bonus. Glasgow Hawks 24. It's Herits Blues 7 at the moment. Hawick have got another penalty. It's now Hawick 13, Selkirk 8. Tight one, as it always is between those two teams. Kelso 27, Jedforest 14 is the latest score. We'll return to there very shortly. And Mar 14, Musselburgh 33. So two of the three teams at the top at the moment are losing. Into National 1, that full-time confirmed. Bigger 42, GHA 40. That game kicked off at 2:30. Gala 39. It's Dundee 20, that is a latest score. GHK 7, Ayr 29, Highland 22, Glasgow Accies 7. That big run of wins for Glasgow Accies coming to an end, it would seem, at Canal Park in Inverness this afternoon. That's Highland's third try, and it's Melrose 15, Watsonians 8 is a latest score. Into Division 2, Aberdeen Grammar 0, Gordonians 12, that is a latest score in the Aberdeen derby there. Berwick 10, Peebles 28. Kirkcaldy making a fist of things at Beveridge Park. It's Kirkcaldy 21, Falkirk 26. Just checking to see what else. And Kirkcaldy have just gone in front. Kirkcaldy 28, Falkirk 26. Falkirk in second place at the moment. And that is a fourth try for Kirkcaldy, down in seventh place. That's another turn up for the books at the moment. And Dundee have scored again. It's now Gala 39, Dundee 25. And Hawick have got a penalty. Hawick 16, Selkirk 8. That brings you up to date. Stu Mel, they've just scored a converted try. Newton Stewart 33, Stu Mel 25 is a latest score. And just to confirm, at Mansfield Park, Hawick 16, Selkirk 8. So let's go back for the closing stages at Poynter Park of Kelso against Jedforest.
Thank you, and you come back to us with Kelso just having added 3 points, Stuart. It is now Kelso 30, Jedforest 14. We've got 11 minutes to go of this game at a gloomier Poynter Park than when we started. It's still quite quiet here. You can feel the tense atmosphere, I think, Alan. We were talking about how Kelso have allowed Jed to come back at them in this second half, and it showed. I think they took a long range penalty. It's a penalty by Dwayne Patterson from fully 45 metres out. They weren't messing about, they weren't looking to go and take the ball down there. It's just, let's go for the post. Patterson puts it over to 16 points. But it's a different game at the moment.
Yeah, look, I think Kelso come out in the second half thinking they'd won the game, and they just, as I say, play the territory, but it's kind of backfired. Jed have got themselves into the game now. Kelso are kind of, as you say, it's a bit tense, and then they've got that penalty opportunity, and Dwayne's banged it over from 45. You know, he's a great kicker, reliable kicker, and it just settled him down a bit. But I think Kelso need to, you know, it's 10 minutes, but they still need to play out this game rather than, you know, just think they can just pin Jed back in their own half.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think, and we saw that just a couple of weeks ago. You think Kelso would learn. Kelso here at Poynter Park against Selkirk, they had that game in the grip of their grip, and then they let Selkirk come back, and Selkirk stole it at the end of that game. So I think there's more to do here by Kelso today. They've cleared it out of their own 22 there. They're just outside their 22 there, a scrum, and they've managed to clear the ball pretty straightforward up into touch just inside the Jed half. But that's a Jed line out, and it's getting hands on the ball, Alan, isn't it? Controlling. You can only control and dictate the tone of the game and the pace of the game if you're in possession.
What I liked about that though was, you know, Kelso didn't just settle for a maul and then a box kick. They moved the ball across, left foot off Young Hasty, beautiful kick. The winger up chasing, and it just rolls into touch. So at least they're moving the Jed pack about. They're making them stay on their foot, and they've missed the line out, so it's worked for them.
Yeah, they have. So it has worked for Kelso. It's come back. Kelso have stolen that. Jed's line out has been a problem for them all day today. And then Keith Melbourne moves it on to Woodcock, who makes another 5 yards. Good play, and it's now coming out wide.
Straight. Oh, he should have give it.
Dwayne Patterson caught in possession there, and he's held up. But he's given a penalty for a high tackle against Jed there. Don Buckley was holding Dwayne Patterson up in the tackle, hoping that can count. The ref would class it as a maul and the ball would come back to Jed, but actually the ref has surprised Buckley by saying it's a high tackle, and so it's a penalty to Kelso. And of course we've got the sternum tackle this year coming into the game, a trial. You can't tackle above the sternum. Don Buckley's laughing away, not happy I'm sure, but he can't quite believe that decision, and he's now referee.
I think he's unlucky there, to be honest. I think he's very unlucky. He just sort of bear hugged him and then held him up because he's twice his size, and Dwayne was caught, dangling there. So, but Dwayne should have passed it to the 15. Young Barber was straight into that hole, and then he could have linked up with his winger. So
there's a chance, yeah. He just held on to it. And but they've got the penalty, they've kicked it down into touch. Clark Skeldon was told by the referee, I think, to have a word with Dom Buckley and calm it down. The referee wasn't happy at how Buckley was laughing at his decision, and so it was kicked to touch. It's a penalty now to Kelso inside the Jed 22, and it goes to Cammy Brown at the front again. Cammy Brown brings it down. He's been a reliable source of possession today. Kelso are mauling it now into further into that Jed 22. The ball's going a bit loose, it looks boys, but it's still in there. The ball, we can't see the ball yet. It's been spinning left, it's been spinning right. You've got different players pulling it out, but it's two different balls on.
I don't know where the ball is here.
So actually, Blake Roth spotted it. He pulled it back out there, and Kelso have had to move it. They're coming out through the backs. Frankie Robson took a good straight line, and even though he was held straight away, he still managed to make 10 metres back in to the Jed 22. The ball's loose. It's come back to Hasty. Hasty's moved it back out to Angus Roberts, but Angus Roberts, the winger, the right winger over on the left side there, he's held up, but it comes back. Kelso have retained possession. Cammy Brown takes it, he beats the first man, he's then held up by Hamish Stenhouse just in the 22, but it comes back again, back out to Melbourne. Hasty feeds to Melbourne. Good ball carrier today for Kelso, takes the ball on and it's coming back out to Hasty again, along the line to Patterson. Patterson moves it to Robson. Frankie Robson's held, good tackle, he was easily seen there. He wasn't getting away from the Jed grip there in the tackle, just inside the 22. Ashton Asante has it. Can the young tight head do something with the ball? He moves it on. He comes to the ground, and again it comes back to Andy Tait. Andy Tait's looking right, then left. He goes inside, finds his hooker. Ewan Knox takes it on another yard or so. Jed are working hard in their defence. They're keeping Kelso penned on the 22. Keith Melbourne makes a couple of metres.
Move it left. Let's go.
They're listening to Alan Tait's advice, but they're not going to follow it. Frankie Robson comes in, takes up the middle again. Kelso still the ball's loose there. It's come loose, but hands are grabbing it. I think Kelso looked like they got it, but the referee's blown his whistle. He's given a decision Jed's way. It looks like he's given a knock on against Kelso on the ground there. But a couple of chances there for Kelso, but they don't seem to have the same alacrity, the same speed as the first half.
Yeah, they've sort of relied on Frankie a lot there, and I think he's doing a job, but you've got to change it up a bit. I think he could have went out the back of Frankie there and played to the edges again a bit more. But hey, look, it's they're in the right area of the field to do all that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, we've just seen another change there. Murray Woodcock, he's putting a great shift today, coming back into Kelso side in that back row. He's just gone off and been replaced by Andrew Sweeney, and we see a couple of changes. Hamish Stenhouse was on early for Jed, and he's off, and Stephen Anderson, another relatively young Jed front row. He's had a good shift today as well for Jed, so they've come off. They've certainly earned their pie and bovril or whatever it is they get these days when they come off after the game. But yeah, they've certainly earned their pints, that's for sure today, these boys. But it's a scrum to Jed just inside the 22 in the middle of the park. We've only got 5 minutes left of this game. Kelso are leading now 30 points to 14. Middle of this half, it did look like when Jed managed to score second try, and Kelso were down to 14 men when Liam Tait was yellow carded for a late trip on Dom Buckley after a chip and chase. We thought then, Alan, that we have a game the last 20 minutes, but Kelso have managed to just do the right thing, bring the game back into the Jed half. They've not been too flash, but they've managed to bring the penalty from Dwayne Patterson, of course, took that out to more than 2 scores, a 16-point gap, and Jed haven't really been able to find their way back into the game.
Jed's sort of shot themselves with their set piece. Their line out's been really, really poor, and you can't get into the game if your set piece isn't firing. And now they'll give a penalty away at the scrum. So.
And it is penalty given. You hear the shrill of the referee's whistle. That was against Jed's scrum there, and it was a Kelso scrum. I think Kelso are opting to have the scrum again, to go with it again.
He feels he's got him, I think. And Grant Shields.
Yes, Dozer, as he's known. Grant Shields likes a bit of scrummaging, we know. good young talent he was coming through the Kelso ranks. He played down at Newcastle, he was involved with Edinburgh, and you've had him at Southern Knights as well, Grant Shields.
Yeah, he's been a good old pro. I took him to Falcons actually from Kelso, so he's had a good old career, and he's he's putting it back. He's doing a bit of coaching as well, and I'm sure the Kelso front row and the youngsters are getting a fair bit out of him, what he's learnt.
Yeah, and you can see there's, two young tight heads they brought through, Ashton Asante with Angus Robertson as well. And I'll just break. Kelso are attacking now. Oh, it's just a poor pass from Andy Tait wide. Archie Barber was looking for it, but he's still got the ball. Kelso still got the ball on the edge of the Jed 22. They're just working their way back in. That's just let Kelso down. Kelso just been a bit slipshod in some of their attacking play in this second half, and they're going to win the game. Now they're 16 points ahead, 30 points to 14. There's only 2.5 minutes left on the clock in normal time, so they're going to win the game, but there's stuff there for them to work on. They're not going to be delighted with their second half performance.
No, exactly. There doesn't seem to be any urgency. They're just throwing long balls now for the sake of it, and there's nobody really straight, apart from Frankie straightening up, but outside of Frankie, the centres and the wingers and the fullback, they've got to learn to run into little spaces. The young brothers are fair, they're big lads, and I think the Kelso youngsters are seeing them standing there, and they're kind of intimidated a little bit, and they're not taking them on. They're sort of, drifting off.
That's a sub, James Thompson coming on, one of the Berwick brothers here that have come up to play for Kelso this season. He's coming on there at fullback, looks like, and give Archie Barber a break. But yeah, good chance to give another player a chance in the Kelso ranks. Only a few minutes to go here at Poynter Park. It is becoming pretty gloomy here today, but certainly gloomy for Jed. They were coming here today hoping they would win this game against their local border rivals, and it would move them off or closer away to the pack, off the bottom of the league. So 3 points at the bottom of the league. Jed hadn't had a win this season yet, but they're not going to get it here today. They're attacking out of their 22. Dom Buckley trying to take the ball forward, gives it to Blake Roth. Blake Roth moves it to Gary Munro, standoff. He puts a long pass out wide. It's well taken there, good tackle. Brodie Irvin, I think, came on the wing on the far side there. Another youngster coming through, former footballer, former Jeddart talent, Brodie Irvin, who's on the far side, but it's good. Jed have brought the ball back in, but well tackled by Keith Melbourne. They're outside the 22, so Jed are still playing, they're still wanting to play, they're showing that they've got some ball. Lost the ball in the tackle there, but it's come back, and Clark Skeldon moves it back the way there, but well tackled by Kelso, but they're still trying to move the ball. It's gone out to the far right hand side. Nice underarm Sonny Bill Williams pass out there to the right side. But, Sonny Bill, one of many over the years, who flicks the ball out from underneath the arm.
Oh, good pick up.
Jed are still working hard, they're still trying to move the ball. Gary Munro sees that they're close. That was Frankie Robson, cut off the outside pass very quickly there. Gary Munro had to come back inside into contact. Ball's moved again. Aidan Bambrick, who came on, another good scrum half Jed have got, and Jed have won themselves a penalty as they got towards half way. Penalty against Frankie Robson. Just coming up to halfway line. Referee Tom French has been watched here by the referee's assessors today. He's a pretty good game, Tom French, I think. Some of the players might disagree with that, but I think he's been pretty fair to both sides, pretty consistent here. Jed still attacking back over the halfway for Clark Skeldon. He goes to the ground, it's moved again by Bambrick. Dom Buckley gives it a little bit of a goose step, and then when he goes over halfway, it comes back. But Jed are not making much ground here. Kelso still working hard in defence, still trying to not give Jed an inch. Big Harry Meadows, a big tight head, he goes over, crashes over halfway. Jed have still got the ball, they're working hard here, moving the ball across the park much as they can. Alan Frame, prop that's watching Nets come off the bench, but chipped ahead, but Jed looked like he might have been taken out there, but the referee's gone with it. Kelso have picked up. No, it's now a penalty to Jed on the far side. So very scrappy stuff here. Jed looked like they'd run out of ideas, chipped the ball forward. I don't think they were too delighted that the kicker was brought to ground immediately, but Kelso had the ball, but they gave it back in there. A penalty getting caught isolated on the far side. Kelso, Jed, a chance to finish here, Alan. We're into injury time here at Pointer Park. It's still Kelso 30, Jedforest 14, but it'd be good for Jed, it'd be good for their morale here today to finish with a try.
Yeah, but look, they've got themselves, by playing rugby there, they've got themselves penalty after penalty, then field position. So as you say, it's always good in for the bank for future in this season. They've got to keep building. It's just a pity they aren't going for a bonus point with the 4 tries. They know they've got another penalty now. So.
Another penalty. That was a line out they took in from the far side, far touchline here, looking out from the main stand. And there we're Jed playing right to left here, down in the far end. And they've got another penalty, but are they going for a line out?
I don't think they're not trusting their line out. They're just going to go for a quick tap.
I can understand that today. The line out has not been good for Jed, but Blake Groff comes running round. He picks up the ball from Bambrick, and he's made it all the way to the line, but he's held there on the line. He's not getting over, so the ball's moved. Clark Skeldon's over.
Try, Clark.
Yes, Clark Skeldon took it. He knew what he's doing. He's a clever player, Clark.
Yeah,
he's a big ball carrier, but he's got good feet as well. He can move, Alan, can't he?
Oh, definitely. As I say, he knew exactly where to run at there. He picked out the small backs and crashed over with 3 of them hanging on his shirt. But they'll just be disappointed that that wasn't the 4th try and they got a point out of it.
So Clark Skeldon goes over for a try. It's a consolation try for Jed here. The players are running back into their own half, but we're deep into injury time here at Pointer Park. They know that there's a chance that if they get this ball back from the restart, they might have a chance of a bonus. The conversion was taken as quickly as possible, and they've got time. The referee is playing more time here. We've played 3.5 minutes of injury time, but that was converted there by Gary Munro. So it's 30 points to 21. You never know, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, well, look, Kelso have only had 2 penalties this half. They've been poor, really. They've just went to sleep and they've let Jed do all the rugby, all the momentum's gone with Jed, and Kelso have just sat back, really, and they'll be disappointed with this second half. I would have thought, when they talk through the week, they've got to be stronger when they're in stronger positions. They've just got to finish a team off.
Yeah, and that has been a bit of a problem for Kelso, and I think a lot of people shouting for a high tackle against Kelso. I think it was Grant Shields who was in on the tackle on. It was scrum half. Mark Glenn, who's now playing at full back for Jed. He didn't go off. He went to full back and he's limping about. It was a big tackle on him, but Jed are still. So we know what Jed are after. They're looking to see if they can work their way back up the field and see if they can get a 4th try in this game to come out of it with something, a bonus point. They'll get a bonus point also for being within 7 points of Kelso. So there is still something to play for here. We're well into injury time here, coming up for 5 minutes of injury time. Don Buckley on the run again. He beats 3 men. Here he goes. He's over halfway. What a great run by Don Buckley, the centre, big powerful centre, been a great addition. But crashing in there, Jed going down wide, but both players were going to ground at the same time, so it's not a high tackle there. That was Robbie Shearer Gibb that was taken down. It's moved now. Gary Munro in over a 10 metre, but he's just hesitating there. It's a penalty to Jed though.
I'll tell you,
Kelso offside.
They're going to grab a bonus point try.
So Jed have really picked up when they've got the bit between their teeth. Jed can play. They showed that against Mar last week. When there's something to play for in this game, they'll be really disappointed. They've gone for long periods in this game without the ball and defending and not really showing what they can do. Now, when the game is virtually dead, the game's gone. Suddenly they're up, they've got that try, they're going for bonus points here. Gary Munro kicks the ball long, down into touch.
Nudge as well.
Into touch, just less than 10 metres from the Kelso line. So Jed are going for it here. They're behind 30 points to 21. We are into injury time here at Pointer Park, but Jed have the chance to go for a 4th try here and see if they can pick up bonus points. A couple of bonus points. When you've only got 3 at the bottom of the league, every point counts as Jed look to see if they can fight away from that relegation spot. In it comes. It's gone to Fotheringham in the middle of the line out.
It's a good setup.
They've got a good maul going here, Jed. They've worked their way up to about 5 metres from the Kelso line. Kelso are splintering. Jed have still got the ball, but the ball's gone down. Oh, it's picked by Harry Meadows, I think, and he still goes back. He's going to the back The ball's moved out, Gary Monroe moves it out to Don Buckley, who wants to take them on himself. He's done it before, he's trying again to get back. He's held off Ashton Asante, but he's gone to ground eventually. Jed have still got the ball, they're inside the Kelso 22, they're moving the ball right to left, but the ball's gone loose again on the ground. Bruce McNeil looks like he might have his hands on it, no, but it's been picked up by Bambrick and he's been pulled into touch by Kelso. And that's enough. The referee has seen enough there. His bonus whistle for full time. Jed gave it everything there. They looked like they still had the ball, looked like they had chances, but actually they'll be gutted that they never managed to finish there when they did have the ball, because there were a couple of good chances, Alan.
Oh, that maul setup was perfect. I think they'll be feeling very unlucky they didn't get a penalty there, because I think it was the Kelso players that pulled that down when it was in the motion. So they'll feel aggrieved about that a bit, but full marks to Jed. They played all the rugby second half and they nearly got themselves a bonus point.
Yeah, so I mean it's been one of those games, we've seen that at Kelso, where Kelso looked very much in command here for long spells in that game. They scored the tries when they were on song. Jed looked like they couldn't live with them, and then Kelso took the foot off a little. Jed come back and Jed show how good a side they can be when they play. So both teams will probably be disappointed, but Kelso come out of it with the victory, 30 points to 27. They'll take another step back in towards the pack of the rest of the teams in Premiership. We were talking about this, Alan, has been the first time that these two teams have come together and played in the Premiership for 24 years. It goes with Kelso today, but there must be something that Jed can take away from that game that can help them.
Definitely, I don't think there's honestly much between them, and the two teams will know that now. So, Jed will be licking the lips the next time they get Kelso up at Riverside. But look, I think Jed will be really happy with the second 40 and Kelso won't be, and they'll be happy with the first 40s. So both teams have got plenty to work on.
Plenty to work on, they have indeed, but the crowd has been quite royally entertained here by the Royal Blues and the hosts Kelso. It's been a cracking game, there's been lots of tries scored ultimately by both teams. There have been lots of pretty poor rugby out there as well, lots of mistakes and misfiring line-outs, but that's what we love about Borders rugby. Two teams come together, they both laid their bodies on the line, there's no doubt about that this afternoon, but it's Kelso who emerge the victors in this match at Poynter Park by 30 points to 21.
Thank you very much to David Ferguson and Alan Tait down there at Poynter Park. Let's bring you up to date with things at Scrimmerston. Andrew Fleming, it's all over here.
Yes, it was a win for Peebles this afternoon by 35 points to 15. I'm joined now by Berwick fly half Jack Webster. So Jack, a difficult match today. What are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, we didn't start very well, obviously conceding some early tries in the first half, put ourselves on the back foot. We've done that a couple of times this season, going sort of, I think we're 21-3 down at one point or something like that, so it's always going to be tough to come back from that. Second half I thought we held onto the ball quite well, tried our best to break down the People's defence, but they stood pretty strong and obviously held out for the win. Yeah,
obviously as you say, the first half got away from you. What do you think was the difference in that first period?
We maybe just lacked a bit of intensity. We struggled at the breakdown. People sort of counter-rucked us a few times, and we're maybe a bit weak on the ball, maybe worrying about what's happening outside rather than dealing with the immediate threat at the ruck. But like I say, when you put yourself sort of 2 or 3 tries down early on, it's always going to be tough to come back from.
You had a lot of possession and territory in that second half and not a lot to show for it. It must have been a frustrating one.
Yeah, it was a bit, but that's where we're finding ourselves this season. We're trying a lot, not a lot's coming off at the moment, but we'll keep plugging away and eventually things will come good.
A trip to Gordonians next week, who are flying high, that'll be another tough encounter.
Yeah, obviously we haven't played them with them just coming up, so don't really know what to make of them, but we can see what they're doing well in the league, but we'll go up there and give it everything we've got to come away with the victory next week.
We're joined now by People's captain Jack Harrison. Jack, you're a very happy man tonight. Berwick's a difficult place to come, but how pleased are you to get that bonus point win?
Yeah, we're really pleased. We had a tough last couple of weeks, so we talked about we needed sort of 5 points here today, and we had a strong first half. We practiced sort of up in the ruck speed in training, and that sort of paid off. And then credit to Berwick in the second half. We had the wind behind them and they fairly came at us, but we sort of defended quite well, so we were pleased with our performance overall.
You obviously fell behind that early penalty, but you responded well and scored some really good team tries in that first half.
Yeah, we backs have taken a bit of stick at Peebles for not scoring many tries, so for in that first half to get a couple through the backs and for us to actually be playing the ball a bit more is what we've been looking at doing. So it's good.
So for me, David Collins was a standout performer there at fullback. How impressed were you with his performance?
Yeah, he's just come back from quite a long-term hamstring injury, so it's good to have him back in the team. He's a sort of strong, quick runner, so he can play quite a bit over the back line, sort of 9 wingers, 15. So yeah, it's good to have him back in the team and making line breaks.
And next week you're home against Kirkcaldy. What are your thoughts ahead of that one?
Yeah, well, hopefully same again. Kirkcaldy will be. I think we had quite a close game today, so it'll be strong. So we just have to up front again, and hopefully get another win at home.
Well done today, Jack. Thank you
very much. Cheers.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio. Borders College is your local community college. Why not read about the successes of former students, from successful businesses to top sports athletes? We love to share their successes and hear from former students. If that's you, get in touch and tell us about your own success. Read the success stories and tell us about yours right now at borderscollege.ac.uk. Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
Borders water, Borders barley and Borders people. That's what makes the Borders Distillery. Working exclusively with local farmers, the Borders Distillery is bringing whisky making back to the region. Our award-winning distillery is open to everyone, where you can meet the people behind the scenes, explore our wash house and shop quality local products. Tour your local distillery and discover the spirit of the Borders. Full details at thebordersdistillery.com. Always enjoy our spirit responsibly. Under 18s must be accompanied by an adult when visiting the Borders Distillery.
When the weather's dreich and a storm's a brewing, you need a strong, windproof, quality umbrella delivered with good old-fashioned customer service and at an affordable price. Up here in Umbrella Heaven, we say you tackle the ball, we'll tackle the weather. UmbrellaHeaven.com. Brave the storm.
This is Rugby Radio, brought to you by Borders College.
Who's gonna tell you when it's too late? Who's gonna tell you things aren't so great? You can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. What now? Who's gonna drive you home tonight? Who's gonna pick you up when you fall? Who's gonna hang it up when you call? Who's gonna pay attention to your dreams? Yeah, who's gonna plug their ears when you scream? Who's gonna hold it down when you shake? Who's gonna come around when you break? You can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Who's gonna drive you home tonight? Oh, you know you can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Who's gonna drive you home tonight?
This is Rugby Radio, 9 minutes to 5, 9 minutes left on air. Plenty to bring you yet. We're going to go down very shortly to Poynter Park to get some reaction from Kelso's win against Jedforest, 30 points to 21 there. Let's give you some results though. Edinburgh Accies 31, Curry 19, Glasgow Hawks 27, Heriots Blues 19, Hawick 36, Selkirk 8, Kelso 30, Jedforest 21, and Mar have been beaten. Mar 28, Musselburgh 36. They take away the Bill McLaren Shield, so congratulations to Musselburgh. We'll have a look at how that affects the table very shortly. Results from National 1, Biggar 42, GHA 40. They finally got their first win of the season at Hartree Mill. Gala 42, Dundee 32, GHK 7, Ayr 50. Ayr still unbeaten, 8 from 8 now. Highland 29, Glasgow Accies 14, and Melrose 18, Watsonians 11. And in National 2, Aberdeen Grammar 5, Gordonians 17 is a final result. Gordonians winning the Aberdeen Derby. Berwick 15, Peebles 35. It ended here at Scremerston. Kirkcaldy 28, Falkirk 31. Lasswade 43, Stirling County 24, and Newton Stewart 38, Stewart's Melville 25. Right, let's go down to Poynter Park again. Rejoin David Ferguson, who's with Clark Skeldon from Jedforest.
Yes, Clark Skeldon, he got a disappointed look on his face. He knows that there was first half, you know, it was really difficult. You didn't really seem to be in the game at times in that first half, and then the second half you come into it and you finish with the scoreline here at Poynter Park. Kelso 30, Jedforest 21. Do you feel that there was more you could have done? Do you feel it was?
Oh, definitely. We've that's the performance that we had last week against Mar, and we wanted to replicate that performance today. But a wee bit of credit to Kelso first half. You know, they kicked well and they kept us in our own half, and you know we made some crucial errors that ended up leading to their tries. So we're disappointed with that, but you know, we got back in the game second half. You know, to keep a team to no scoring any tries at second half. It's definitely a positive we can try and take for this game. But bitterly disappointed with the result and the first half performance.
At one point you were down to 13 men. You looked like the game had gone. Kelso moved at 27 points, 20 points ahead, and then you came back. Great bit of skill from Don Buckley as well. You had a couple of good challenges, and then towards the end you had a maul there on the Kelso line right at the death, but it looked like if you'd gone over fourth try you'd have come away with 2 bonus points. What were you thinking in the last 10 minutes?
Well, when we got that penalty near the end, you know, I said to Gary, do you want to knock it over for one? But you know, that's the boys, a bit of ambition, try to get 2 points, you know. And you know, we backed ourselves going to the corner. We drove alright, we milked penalties all day, and unfortunately that didn't come to fruition for us. But there was other chances in the game apart from that. You know, the times were on their line and crucial errors or you know, and just breaking down. So it's, you know, leaving it to the last minute is never ideal, but you know, disappointed not to come away with anything.
What was the key difference you think today between today and last week? Because we talked Dom with guys like Dom coming in, Lewis Young and others, and you've been able to stick with the same team more or less from last week to this week. So you hope that would be really good today, and that would give you that lift.
You always try to do that. You know, that continuity that we've been missing. You know, we tried to bring that in this week, but you know, it's never easy, especially a border derby. You know, kind of form and everything you've planned through the week sometimes goes out the window, and it's just about that wee bit of dog. And unfortunately, Kelso had that early doors and kind of really took it to us early, and we took a while to settle into the game. And you know, by the time the second half came round, you know, Dwayne's kicked a couple of good penalties and taken the game away for us. But you know, we can take a bit of heart for getting those tries in the second half and keeping them out. But really disappointing to come away with nothing.
Yeah, I can see that in your face, Clark. I mean, you feel there's a positive that it's the first time you've kept a team to no tries in the second half. We've got the Kelso captain here, Frankie Robson. Thanks very much, Clark. We'll let you go, and we'll bring Frankie in. Frankie, if you can come and join us and get the other side of the coin. It's a funny game, Frankie. You know, in some regards, I wondered if it's going to be a bit like Selkirk game here, where the second half you let it slip. Tell me how you felt and how the game went.
Yeah, we certainly did let it slip a bit, to be honest. I think we were 20 points up at one point and then ended up winning by 9, which is not ideal. But the way we played in the first half was really pleasing. Had some good front foot carries. I think we were dominating them up front, and had some big physical carries in the middle of the park, and also making some clean line breaks was good to see. We made quite a few clean line breaks. We scored a really good try, Archie Barber, where Dwayne went through untouched and put him away in the corner. So definitely happy with the first half performance, but did let it slip a bit in the second half.
Now we're running out of time here on radio, but I think that's the way it went. I mean, in terms of how you go next week, Frankie, you won the game. That was the important thing. You're moving yourself back into that pack and a half in the middle. Stuff to build on.
Definitely stuff to build on, yeah. And we play Musselburgh down here, which we drew with away first game of the season. Scored quite a lot of points, but also shipped quite a lot on that day. I think it was 31 all or something. So we said on that day when we went off the field that we were really keen to get them down to Poynter and have a good go at them. So things to work on from today that we'll implement, and obviously things that we need to improve on. So it's a big week.
Definitely ahead. Two good teams here today, but that's it wrapped up at Poynter Park this afternoon. It's a Kelso win by 30 points to 21.
David Ferguson and Alan Tait, of course, helping me out in commentary as well. Let's have a look at the league tables as they stand. These are unofficial, but we think Hawick are top of the table with 37. Mar second, 36. Third now, Edinburgh Accies on 29. In fourth place, also on 29, Musselburgh. Curry dropped to fifth. They're on 27. Sixth and 26 points, Heriots Blues, who didn't get anything out of today either. In seventh place, it is Glasgow Hawks. They're on 21 with a try bonus today. In eighth position, Kelso on 20. Ninth, Selkirk with 13. And in 10th place, still Jedforest on the 3 points. Into National 1, and it's Ayr on top once again. 8 from 8, 38 points at the top. Second, Highland with 32. Glasgow Accies dropped to third. They're on now 27 points, and fourth GHA with 25, fifth Melrose 22, sixth Watsonians 20, in seventh it's Gala on 18, Dundee 8th place 16, in ninth it's GHK with 13, and Biggar with their first win of the season are now with 12 points but still in last place. Well, the closing headlines tonight in the Premiership, there were wins for Edinburgh Accies, Hawick, Kelso, Glasgow Hawks and Musselburgh. In National 1, victories went to Biggar, Gala, Ayr, Highland and Melrose. In National 2, wins for Gordonians, Peebles, Falkirk, Lasswade and Newton Stewart. And the results from Division 3 and 4 will appear on our website at rugbyradio.co.uk as soon as they come in. Don't forget our weekly Scottish Club Rugby podcast. That's available every Thursday, and our 9th edition available right now wherever you get your podcasts from, or of course on YouTube as well, with the other 8 episodes with Dale Clancy and myself. We're going to be back next Saturday at the earlier time at 1:30. Don't forget the clocks go back tonight, so lots of 2 o'clock kickoffs next week, and we'll have an extra hour on air, so we'll go from 1:30 till 5 o'clock, and we'll be coming to you live for the very first time from Bulgrey in the Premiership, with a match between Glasgow Hawks and Hawick. But that's here on Rugby Radio between 1:30 and 5. Hope you can join us then. But for now, for me and the team, a very good afternoon.